this Saturday Night Vibe, the Aggressive News Show. Let's be S3. I am your host, Marlon, along with this. I have no idea what Anna had, but I'm assuming she'll come on later on. Today, I'm doing another series. I did find a one-story series. And speaking of the devil, hey, Anna.
Hey.
I got a one-story series that honestly is a lot different from any other story I've done before. And I did that on purpose. I wanted to do something totally different to show that the world is not Reddit. In other words, just to show you that Reddit has great little stories and everything else, but that's not real life. So I found a story that shows just that. We also got an Am I the A-hole, Mafia video of the week, and of course jumping into Foxy's video of the week. Theus, how's everything going, man?
Everything is really good. I'm having a decent week, a decent weekend. Yeah. Everything's on the upswing, I guess you could say.
All right. Yeah.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late. It's just I'm working my way up from being flat out on my back with my health, so it's better than it was. It's still not where I call balanced. So yeah. Other than that, I got to see my nephew yesterday, and we've been having some good talks. He's had some questions, things going on, and his 12 to 13-year-old brain is starting to process it a little differently. So I love our talks.
All right. Well, my week is busy. Like every day, there's been a outlier or something that I need to do, and today was no different because somebody tried to use my card in New Jersey.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
They closed my card. I had to run to the bank, get a new card that I can't use until tomorrow morning. So yeah, I'm like, yeah. So while I was out, I just went and got me some cigars and just told everybody I'm not moving tomorrow. I'm not leaving the house tomorrow at all. Sit here, put the show together, and there you go. But I ain't moving. But tired now. But anyway, without further ado, let's get this party started. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get into it. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first clip and the drama.
I'm a 16-year-old guy who has a 4-month-old daughter, and my ex-girlfriend wants to go to college, and I'm worried. Before anyone says anything, yes, I knew about condoms. I was just dumb. My parents divorced when I was 10, but I live primarily with my mom. The parents of my ex-girlfriend, Tiffany, who's 16, are still together. When our parents found out that she was pregnant, her parents kicked her out and my mom kicked me out. So now we live with my dad. During the pregnancy, my dad took my mom to court and got primary sole custody. I know what this means because I had to go to court for my daughter. My dad sued Tiffany's parents for legal guardianship, and they now pay child support for her, and they're pissed and refuse to talk to us. I'm in my bedroom, my daughter is in her bedroom, and my ex is in the guest bedroom that's now hers. My dad made a deal with us. We live with him until the age of 18 with no rent payment, and at 18, we need to decide what to do. I wasn't really that good with school, but Tiffany is an A student. So I took my GED, and my dad got me into welding school. I finished in 2 months. I also work full-time, so I do welding school at night. Tiffany goes to school and works on the weekends at Wendy's. This whole thing is a huge ordeal. We literally have no life. My dad helps, but not that much, because he feels that it's our responsibility, which I agree, but it still sucks. I work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. at a warehouse, and I go to school from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Tiffany is home by 2:30 and picks up our daughter from daycare. We help each other a lot, and then I head off to school and she stays with our daughter at home until I get home, and then we do it all over again the next day. When our daughter was born, my dad made us go to court. We each have 50-50 custody, and I don't pay child support because she lives with us. Because I work full-time, I can get healthcare for my daughter and myself, and that sucks because it costs me $300 a month and daycare is $400 a week. Tiffany literally just works so that we can pay for daycare, and I pay for everything else. When we're short on cash, my dad will help because he sees that we're trying. My dad has been our rock. When we're tired and exhausted, he will step in and give us a break here and there, but he makes sure that we have everything we need and keeps us motivated. Tiffany wants to apply to college soon, and I'm worried because I don't want to keep living with her, and I don't think that I can keep our daughter full-time as a welder working 12-hour shifts. But she says that she wants to start community college and work, but she wants to stay with us living together since it's easier. Since I'll still be working, it'll be best for us to stay with my dad. But my dad said that at the age of 18, we have to start paying rent. My ex doesn't mind that, but I don't want to keep living with her because we're not together. I'm unsure of how to tell her this. My dad thinks that she should stay with us as long as she's a full-time student so she can finish her degree because I'm already getting started in my career. I just feel that this is unfair because the burden is on me. I guess I'm ranting because I'm scared and unsure of what all this means.
It means growing up, you're out of time. You have a child. The world changes. I mean, so far, there are so many things where I have to say, well done. Well done to this whole family for, it seems, supporting each other, setting down good boundaries that help your children understand, or your, also the mother of your son's child, that there are boundaries. And yeah, when you're 18, and man, was he, in a way, I want to say, like, he was generous with that. Yeah, you're not 18 yet. No rent for 2 years. But he knows he did a dumb thing, and so he's having to step up from behind the wheel, but it seems like he's doing everything.
Big Anna froze.
Uh-oh.
No, she's not frozen for me.
Uh-oh.
I hear you, Anna.
Okay.
We got Marlin issues.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we do. Keep going, Anna.
Okay, sorry about that. Just the big thing that really jumped out at me at the end was that he did not consider the mother of his child a partner. And cool, she's not a romantic partner. You're not like that anymore. She is the mother of your child, and that connection will be there as long as your child. So I don't have like any advice per se for the young man. I have all support and accolades for stepping up and doing what you should be doing. And yeah, it's hard being a parent. It is very hard. So as everybody knows, I don't have any biological children of my own. I helped nearly every day, and a lot of it was me sleeping at the house with my nephew. And so I do have, some experience in that. Yeah, in the first couple of years, it's all a big cycle of what does that baby need? Grab some sleep while that baby is sleeping, and you blindly walk through the rest of the steps, whether you have work or other obligations, or I don't know. I thought he was handling pretty well.
So here's
Marlon, I think you're muted.
Yeah, Marlon's muted. Did you want to go first, bro?
No, I was saying this. So
Oh, okay.
Okay. So young man basically hit fast forward on his life, and so did she. Okay.
Mhm.
These were two children who made a consensual decision, even though legally they were not of age. But okay. And they started out with a pretty tough situation in that both of their custodial parents felt that the way to punish them was to kick them out.
Right.
I get the anger and the disappointment, but the situation is where it is. And fortunately, this young man had someone that on the surface, he kind of sparks of somebody like me. So yeah, you made a reckless decision. Biology took course in the first part and the second part, and so now you have to play your part. And the father said, "Okay, here are the parameters." He even took an extra step. Well, I probably wouldn't even have considered. Where he's like, "Well, no, give me custody of the girl too. I'm not going to have her out on the street or just crashing on my couch. And then you say that I, shouldn't have your child. No, you kick her out, give her to me. I'll take the responsibility of both of these children on, right? And so, kudos, to that dad. And then he said today, look, this is your kid. Okay. I am here to make sure you don't fall apart, but I'm not here to hold you together. And so I'm like so incredibly impressed with not just what the dad did, but how the son explains what the dad did. See, that's something I think can get lost, is listen to how this poster is speaking of his father, right? He's giving his father credit in a very mature way, which means he was raised quite well, at least intellectually, right? So cool. You're tired, you're frustrated. This is a part of growing up, and your dad is still trying to teach you even through this. Like, okay, you made a decision, young man. Here are the consequences, right? The consequence tree. So this is what you did. This is where you are. I can't punish you for what you did. That's done. Here is where you are. Your best option is to develop a trade, because it's going to be very hard for you to provide for your family from where you decided to start from. So drop out of school, get your GED, get the training, get the certification. Here you are, 17 years old, and you're already on your way to a actual career. A career you can change up later, but you now have a skill, a marketable skill that very few people have and will afford you a good living to help take care of your child. And along the way, it didn't seem like anyway, he's forcing these kids to have any kind of a particular relationship. In the story, the young man even said, "This is my ex," right? So kudos to that. Where I would detract a little bit, or at least how I interpreted what you were saying, Anna, is yes, that is the mother of his child, and they will be anchored together in some way or tied together in some way for life. That will lessen when the child is grown, but they're still tied together. But that doesn't mean I'm responsible for you. So we are no longer together. We have the exact same set of rules in front of us.
Mhm.
Okay? We are co-parents.
Mhm.
My father is affording us the ability to have a place to live and figure this thing out and ramp up until we're of age. Okay.
Mhm.
If that happens, the rules are the same for both of us. So, yes, you want to go to college. That is your choice. But you have to take everything that comes with that choice.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that means at age 18, yes, my dad said we got to start paying rent.
Mhm.
That's kind of under an implied condition that you guys are on good terms and you're together or at least in good terms. But you're also young people, which means you're going to start drifting and doing different things, especially since you're not together. So the mother really needs to be on a whole nother level than the son. The mother needs to be preparing to get out of that house. But the mother is not preparing from what this person is saying. The mother is looking at it like this is her adoptive father. And so long as I pay the rent, I'll have a place to stay.
Mhm.
And I can't really say too much about how they're dynamic, but so now I'm going to shift into me, where if it were me, then my conversation with my son is no matter what happens with you and her, you are both mine
Mhm.
because that grandbaby is mine.
Yeah.
So if you do not feel that you can continue to be under the same roof with her, it's not your decision that she leaves. That is my decision and her decision.
Right.
So we got you going. You're doing what you're supposed to do, and I will 100% back you and be there for you. But you, when you turn 18, if you don't want to stay here and pay rent, then you move out and get your new place. You know I'm not going to just turn my back on you because I haven't done it this far. So you move out. She stays here. And I'll set up new terms with her. It might be that she has a year. It might be that she has until she's finished with school. It might be any number of things, but I'm now her parent too, because I'm all she has.
Mhm.
Right. So don't worry about where she decides to live. You gotta
Not
let
yours.
that one go, son.
Yeah.
You structure this. Now understand the moment you move out and she's still in school, you will be charged, you will be paying child support. That's gonna happen. It's what's gonna happen because you got money and she doesn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just helping both of them see through this. But at the same time, I have the opportunity to help raise this woman. So helping her understand you're not going to take advantage of my son.
Right.
And you definitely ain't going to take advantage of me.
Yeah.
So here are the structures that we are going to work on. But this is between me and you. It ain't got nothing to do with him.
Right.
And then you build that. Because at the same time, I do want her to go to school. I do want her to have a better opportunity moving forward. But I don't want it at the expense of my son, and I don't want it at the expense of me. Because at the end of the day, my son's number one, my grandson's number two, and you're number 3, 4, or 5. You not in the same ranking with the first two. You know?
Yeah.
So overall, I think this is really good. I hope the young lady is mature and able to work through it. But I do know from my own experience, because I started a family very young, there's a maturing process that has to go through. He is not old enough for the maturity that he even displays. So the
Right.
maturity that he's going to need, he got to get there quick, and it's not going to be easy.
Right.
Because I remember one of the hardest things for me was my ex-wife left me. I was only like 21, 22. My ex-wife left me. And my view was, if you don't want me, you don't need my name. Drop my name, you drop me, right? Because that's that immature space that you're in. He's in a similar mode. We not together. We turned 18. Get out my dad's house. It ain't your house, son. Right? So I get it. But I think they have a better than average chance to figure it out based on the strength of the father in this scenario.
I feel very good about that. And I, want to say I completely agree. I just wanted to point out you will always have that thing that does anchor you to another person in your life. It just but that doesn't mean he's responsible for her. Doesn't mean like that he's got to set up house. The one thing, okay, I was almost getting the impression at the end that he was saying she was under the impression that they were together. Still.
I didn't get that.
I
thought it was more that she was under the impression that everything would stay status quo, provided she pays rent. That's what I think. Like the roommate situation would still flow because she has her own room. He has his own room.
Right.
So I'm thinking she picks up on it as being, I just need to uphold my end of the deal, which is that I can cover my rent because I think at one point he said she can do it.
It was daycare that
right?
she covered.
Right. And she pays the daycare. But at age 18, my thing is all of this has to be renegotiated.
Yes.
And the son stands to take a financial beating as soon as they turn 18, because now he's subject to the law. And that's going to be really rough. And it's going to create a lot of dissent. What's called when you resentment.
Yeah.
Because now you living in my daddy's house. My daddy saved you. My daddy saved me too. But my daddy saved you. You in my daddy's house, and I'm paying you child support, and I got to see you date other men, and I got to put up with your attitude, and I got like all these things start flowing because you're not under the same conditions you were when you were 16 and 17.
Right.
Now you're two grown people trying to figure this thing out. So that's why I was saying he turns 18, he got to get out of that house. That's what I would suggest to him as his father. I wouldn't put him out, but I would suggest to him, son, here are the things you need to be looking at, right? How are you going to feel if he's trying to date somebody else?
Can I ask, how would you reply if your son were to say, but I would like to be with my child?
Well, then the options there, see, that's where maturity comes in. And it sounds like this dad is pretty solid. So here's how I would present that to him. I would have a discussion just with him, and I'd have a discussion with both of them, right? So with him, it's like, son, here are your ways to stay in your child's life. Well, first, I need to find out for my son, what does that mean? Right. What does that mean to him, right? Because to me, that means I need my child in my space. I need to, when I wake up or when I go to sleep, I have access to my child. I ain't asking for no permission. It's I'm 100% dad, and and that's 100% my child. No breaks, no nothing, right?
Okay.
The only way to truly protect yourself in that situation, son, is you got to marry this girl. And the two of y'all are not in that position. You're not there. Now you need to decide, maybe some of it is just the pressure of what you guys have been going through. Like you still love each other, but that was kid love. Now you got to find young adult love. And do you have that, right? Do you have something beyond just the fact that you both love this child? If there's something there, then you guys need to focus on seeing if it's real and if it's sustainable. And if it is, then it may take you a couple months, it may take you a year, but hey, I will help a little bit more, just a little bit more, but you guys start dating each other and see if you're actually what you want. Okay.
Okay.
That's one option, because really the only way to protect you, son, you have to marry her, because that's the only way you have full access to your child. The courts will not help you. Okay. And there's no substitute. She wins. Unfortunately, she wins. You make money. You've established that you have a home. She has none of that without you and your father.
Yeah.
They will break your pockets. You going to work, you did the sacrifice, you work in 12-hour days, you tired, you risk danger and death every time you go to work, and it doesn't matter. She's still going to take 20, 30, 40% of your paycheck. All right. So if you want your child, you got two options: marry her, or you're going to have to go through the system. You're going to have to, even if she says she would never get in the way, and you guys, she knows you're a great father and all that.
Right.
If you're not married to her, you have to go to the courts. Don't wait for her. You need to go to the courts. And then that way you can get your rights solidified. But understand, those rights are going to be visitation. You're either going to take custody of this child and become the custodial parent, or she'll have custody of the child and you'll be paying child support. These are your options, son.
And he was acknowledging spending 12 hours at work that he couldn't be custodial. So yeah, it would be a visitation thing. And it just, this is really interesting to me to get to pick your brain, because the thing that I really like here is that this father keeps reinforcing, this is the law. Like, you guys you're no longer kids. There are, he brings them to, it seems, the lawyer a lot to either explain or get things done. I don't see that changing. And so it could,
the way this could disintegrate, is that year 18 thing, right? Because now there's the psychology of the whole thing. There's the dynamics of the whole thing. There's so many things at play.
Okay.
He has allowed them, they put themselves in a situation where they had to grow up faster. Biologically and developmentally, they are not ready for that. Okay. So he is providing them training wheels through this rapid grow up period. They're having to give up 3 to 4 years of development right now. Okay. So he's helping them by training wheels, getting them through that.
Yeah.
But there's no substitute for that switch that goes off in your head when you turn 18.
True.
Right.
True.
So they're both going to change instantly the moment they turn 18, because the world says you're grown.
Right.
And then there's going to be a part of them that recognizes, well, we're not grown because we need dad. And then there's another level that he's dad to both of them. So she has certainly imprinted on the father.
Yeah.
That is her dad too.
Right?
Not to the same extent, but that's still dad. When nobody was there to take care of me in my most vulnerable state, there were two men who stepped up. The father of my child and my father and my
the grandfather of the child.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have that flowing. Like, there's going to be so much going on. And this may be discourteous of me, but my experience when it comes to these dynamics, I'm sorry, but women get vicious because it's a power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's going to mess things up. So yeah, I feel you. But yeah, I think there's a lot that's going to step into the pot.
Interesting. Thank you very much.
Oh, I hope I'm not frozen again.
Oh, we hear you.
We can hear you.
Well, yeah, right.
Can y'all hear me?
Can hear you just fine.
You're just kind of lagging.
Sorry. Let's go on to the next video.
OP adds in an edit. I guess my issue with her living with us is that we're more like siblings now. We get along and joke and stuff, but since she's my ex, I feel weirded out by it. Maybe I need to take a breather since everyone is saying that's a good thing. Also, I needed to hear it from other people and not just my dad. And my dad is pretty solid, and I should thank him maybe and take him out to dinner or something. Then, about 3 weeks later, OP posted an update. My ex and my dad went to my ex's high school, and they were able to get her enrolled in college courses because of her grades. She reapplied for assistance, and we got a voucher for daycare, so now that's $50 a week. She quit her job so she can focus on school, but she doesn't start college until spring, so that's cool, it gives her some time. She still wants to be a nurse. I got a new job that pays more as a forklift operator and will give me an internship for welding, which I won't be able to start until November or December until I finish my classes. But still, they're paying me really well. My dad and I had a long talk about my fears, and he reassured me that it's okay to be scared, but we have a game plan. He's fixing up the basement in his house to make 2 bedrooms and a living room, kind of like a little apartment, because he said that my ex and I will need space as we grow. He wants me to buy his house from him when I'm 18, like he did with his parents, and he'll help me pay for the mortgage as long as Tiffany gets to stay until she finishes college and let her make her own choice. We all agree that this is the best option, and we're all much happier now. I guess I just needed to let it out. My ex and I are great when we're being parents, and now we're starting to feel a bit more secure. My mom and Tiffany's parents still haven't spoken to us because we aren't married. And that does make me sad, but it's okay, we have my dad. Tiffany's grandparents bought her a car, and they said that's all they can do for her, and not to contact them again until we're married. The car needs some work, but I'm going to pay for it to get it fixed up. My dad finally told me what all happened, and I didn't know any of this, but it made me open my eyes to all of this. My dad met my mom in high school too, and they were together and got caught kissing. Since my mom's family are Baptist, they forced my dad to marry her. They forced him to marry because they got caught kissing? I didn't know this, but in Missouri, parents can marry their kids at 15, which is why my dad has been so protective. They were gonna marry Tiffany and I because she was pregnant, but when my dad stepped in, they couldn't do it. My mom and Tiffany's dad went to get a license for us, and they were going to marry us in their church. I guess I wouldn't have minded marrying Tiffany, but I would rather do it later. But yeah, that's why they aren't talking to us. My dad said that if that happened, he would help us get it annulled, but he has no intentions of speaking to them right now. He explained to me that Tiffany is stuck, and while I might be afraid, she's even more afraid because she has no one, and I need to reassure her that we're here for her as family. I guess I couldn't see it that way, and it's good that I talked to him.
It's like 100% what I said.
Let me go ahead and play the next video because it's 1 minute and 15 seconds long. It's not even that long.
Okay.
But it just adds on to what that last video was talking about.
I hugged my dad, and I've been hugging him every day now, and it's nice. It's made us closer. All this information made me pretty sad and grateful at the same time, and it helped Tiffany and I really start talking more. Like, yeah, we talked before, but we didn't really talk, and I didn't know that she was scared too. Also, the two of us are having days now where we get to just be kids together, as my dad says. So now, at least once a week, both of us hang out with friends who still talk to us, and I get to do a lot of stuff on the weekends now that she doesn't work. For example, I've been spending more time taking our kid, Jelly, to the park and going for walks like we used to in the pumpkin patch. Jelly seems to be happier too, and Tiffany doesn't seem as tired anymore. Oh my god, this is Dad! OP adds in an edit. I just want to say thanks for thinking that I'm a great dad, but I don't believe it just yet. I depend a lot on my dad to help me. Tiffany and I are trying. We do take parenting classes that offer us a lot of advice, and we've made friends there, which is nice. But I don't think that I would be this prepared without my dad. Also, Tiffany is on food stamps, and we take parenting and co-parenting classes. It's my dad's rules.
Yeah, like I said, this is 100% what I was saying. I didn't take into account the religious role, but you know, that's largely almost irrelevant to me. I get where it's coming from. It's one of those really conservative family, two conservative families. Probably they all went to the same church anyway. and then their two children got together. It's that whole thing. I'm glad the father was able to step in. What's sad to me, and I'm sorry, I'm going on my little soapbox about conservatives.
Please.
One of my biggest problems with conservatives is that it has to happen to them. And if it doesn't happen to them, they're hard-hearted about it. So they're able to hide behind, all kinds of garbage and groupthink. And this is the principle of the, but fortunately, if you're a God-fearing person and you're like more religiously doctrined, here's where I would give you a bit of a thing. But God saw that. And so the right piece of that family, which was the dad, saw his life being repeated and said, no, not on my watch. If they want to get married, they can get married down the road. But right now, I'm not going to put that on top of everything else, So if you believe in like the Christian God or whatever, that's the Christian God that I can rock with you on.
Yeah.
The one that puts the right people in the mix that can step in as an intercessionary person and help, right? And be that guide.
Yeah.
Because the other parents hadn't been through it, or they didn't learn the same lessons when they went through it, right? Because half of that was his mom, right? So the mom obviously didn't get the message, only the dad did, but that's because
he lived it.
He had to live it. I mean, the mom experienced it, but she didn't live it. The
she didn't experience it the way he did.
Right. The expectation was on him. And this is why a lot of times when I'm having discussions, and you've seen it some of my video content, I'm talking to the men. I'm talking to the men mainly because that's all I really am qualified to talk to, because I am a man. But then it's also it's like people don't understand what we really go through. We don't really understand what women go through. Don't get me wrong, but we always have to hear about what women go through. You don't hear about what men go through. No one truly cares. And I'm just being real. No one truly cares about the weight that we carry emotionally and mentally. You can say you do, but the reality is I talk to the men and they're very lonely, right? They can have people around them. They can have all these different things, but we're not groomed to form support groups. We're not groomed to have a sharing partner. We're not groomed to let loose of that stuff, because there still has to be that hard edge that we have to carry. And I'm like that old school kind of cat that's also blended with the new school, where I tell young men, look, first of all, don't confide all your stuff to your woman. Don't do it. Don't do it. Whatever your deepest hurt, your deepest fears, you better keep that shit to yourself. You better get your homeboy, that one that's proven, that's your sounding board. Don't take that to your woman, right? Sorry, a lot of ladies don't like to hear that, but that's what it is. But then also, guys, you can't hold it all inside. You just can't. It will eat you alive. It will break you. It will destroy you. And once it's done that to you, it will then damage all the things you think you're trying to protect, all the things you think you're trying to hold together and all that. It will damage those things because those things rely on you. So if you're letting yourself get ate out from the inside, eventually you will be so hollow you can't hold the weight anymore. So you have to have an outlet. You have to have something, right? So it's a two-pronged thing. On one hand, guys, you got to understand that you're a human being and you do have emotions. You are worthy. You are valid. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to have feelings, all of those things. But on the other side, given all of that, you better keep a lot of that to yourself. You need to learn how to compartmentalize. You got to learn how to prioritize. You got to learn some stuff just is going to suck. That's your role, right? But the problem is very few people are given the resources to put those two things together. So you have people who are trying to do either or, and either or doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So far,
I got way off the story. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I would try to put it back on the story. I'm gonna try to make it short because we got one more video show. So far, we have literally seen the polar opposite of two parents. And that's why I said I'm glad I put these videos up, because we're so used to hearing the toxic parent, the religious parent, the I done had it with you, I'm kicking you out parent, the oh you're pregnant, you out of here parent, the
His
I'm
story
gonna
is
marry you
wonderful.
parent. And
Mhm.
we got all of that from the first set of parents. All
Yeah.
of that.
Yep.
Without realizing, when I've been telling people for the longest time, Reddit ain't real life. It is they say they even have Reddit has subtitles, subcategories,
Subreddits is what they
subreddits.
call them. Yep.
Yeah, they have
Subforums.
subreddits. It is the outlier of the world. I'm not saying these things do not happen. I'm just saying we are experiencing the other side of, okay, I don't believe in what y'all did to these kids. I don't like what you did to these kids. So I'm going to do everything in my power to help them. I'm going to do your job. Talking to the first set of parents, the
Gotcha.
mama who wanted to get married and the daddy who wanted them to get married.
Right.
The daddy picked up the ball and ran it in. I'll do your job. Instead of, and I'm sorry, always been my way of thinking. I'll pick up the ball and run with it, because obviously you wanted to take the easy way out. Because that's what marrying them off and everything else, that's getting them out of your hair now. You're married now. You handle everything now. You deal with everything now. Y'all married now. Plus, I look good in front of the church, because obviously the church folks, my appearance in front of the church is way, way more important than my kids. So I have to do all this stuff. The dad was like, nah, I'm doing for the kids. And I like, this is a example of tough love.
Yeah. It's
This
wonderful.
is a prime example of it.
Hmm.
This is basically saying, kids, it's gonna get rough. It's gonna get terrible. So I'm not gonna take all the pressure off of you, because it's not fair to this child. But again, I have to also be fair to you. So I'm not going to just throw you out, or you're going to have to skip. You're going to have to skip school. No. You can't go to college, because you need to go straight to get to the job and everything else. This dad is smart enough to know, how's that setting him up for the future? If I really cared about my grandchild, I just told this kid, go work at a grocery store for practically the rest of your life, because I know for some reason that's going to take care of the grandchild for the rest of her life. Mother, I'm so sorry. Those dreams about you going to nursing school, you can forget that. You can forget that. No. You need to just quit school and go get a job too. You need to buy the formulas and the diapers and the food and everything else. No, this dude right here, I have to set up a future for my kids. And I'm not going to make it easy for them, because if I do, that future is going to look so easy to achieve. And that's not reality.
Right.
That's not true. But if you work for it, you set up for life. You was absolutely right. This is one thing when you said we was going to welding school and everything else. I always said, if you're going to get a trade where you could go to any state in the United States and get a job. Welding is one of those jobs. You could go anywhere and get a job in welding. She's going to nursing school. You can get a nursing job anywhere in the United States. So if these two grow up and decide, I don't want to be in this little small little religious town no more, they're set. Or they're still setting, I should say. They're still setting up. But they're on to a very good start. So I'm not going to get on my soapbox like this. Let me just say, I agree with every doggone thing that he said, though. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that apparently these people don't believe in God enough that they feel like they need to do God's job and do the opposite of everything God would do.
Yeah, they do God's job, not God's will. There's a difference.
They ain't doing God's job. They ain't doing God's will. They're not doing God's wish. They're not doing anything godly. They're doing churchly. They doing church-wise things. I can take any part of the Bible and form it to whatever it is that I truly believe in, whether it's good or bad.
I hear you, but God is a God of the Christian Bible. He's a bit of a prick. So
yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like, they're trying to do God's job, right? They're rendering judgment on these young people. They're going to apply pressure on these young people. They're going to try to force them into being better people, but they're missing God's will. And God's will is more of the spirit of the word, because the letter of the word has been manipulated, twisted, remixed, cut out, all these things. But the spirit of God's will is pretty easy to follow. And that's what the Father is doing. The Father is showing compassion in the midst of mercy. He's showing, compassion in the midst of turmoil. He's showing mercy when there could be judgment. He's giving guidance even when it's not pleasant. He's being measured when he could be, relentless. He's doing the spirit of what God would have us to do, whether you're Old Testament or New Testament. That part is consistent. But if you're going to go with his doing his job, well, see, now you get to pick whichever side of God you want to be. You can be the butthole God, you can be the nice God, you can do all these different things. And that's where me and religious people really come into major conflict, is because they are oftentimes they're sifting through to find what rules they can apply at any given time without the context of how it all works together. Mm-hmm. Where if you just take the spirit of it is pretty consistent even through all the way through, even when God was at his quote unquote worst.
Huh.
All right. Let me
Sorry,
go ahead.
I'm kind of on your side though. No, I'm serious. I am. I'm kind of on their side.
Okay. Let me go ahead and play this last video here. Anna, you have the first word. You're not going to like it. I can tell you exactly. He's not going to like it. And I know the bits and pieces he's not going to like. But I left it in on purpose. So Here we go. The final part. Dad of the year.
Then, gosh, how long is this? 2 years later almost? Yeah, okay, about 2 years later, OP posts another update. Oh my gosh, guys, I finally logged into Reddit and I had tons of messages and I found this post. I honestly just didn't expect this, so I might as well make an update. Well, Tiffany and I are 18 now. I made my first post 2 years ago and Jelly is 2 years old as well. My dad is doing really good now. He finally has a girlfriend, and of course, he met her at Tiffany's community college. She's an admissions counselor. Tiffany is in community college for nursing, and she's killing it. She'll have her associates in nursing and then head over to her bachelor's at some point. But yeah, she's doing really good. I'm a welder now, and I make pretty good money. Tiffany and I are back together! You guys, I'm gonna cry! Oh my god, this is actually choking me up. Oh my god. You guys, OP and Tiffany and their daughter were on the ropes. They were facing a miserable, broken life, a shattered family. Their lives were ruined. But their dad, their golden-hearted dad, sacrificed so much to pull them together and teach them what's important. God, what a good person. I hope I am half as good of a father as this guy is. Oh, I'm getting emotional. Okay. Tiffany and I are back together. We started dating again, and this New Year's, when she kissed me, and it just felt right. But she made it very clear that we're dating, so she's in the basement, which we fixed up, and I'm in my room upstairs, and she makes me text her if it's okay to come over. Haha, it's just a funny thing that we do. Yes, I'm gonna marry her. Guys, I can't take this. Okay. I need tissues. I gotta take a break. I need tissues. We go to family counseling 4 times a month, 2 weeks virtual and 2 weeks in office because of our schedule. We found that this helps us. It's like couples counseling, but not. I'm not the best communicator, and this has helped me with stressful times with Tiffany and Jelly. I feel like I aged the past 2 years. I definitely don't feel 18. I feel older. Jelly is the happiest kid, and she literally lights up a room, and I honestly just can't imagine not being in her life every second of the day. She loves Pa. That's what she calls my dad. She has him wrapped around his finger. He literally spoils her all the time. I really love being a dad to her. I love taking naps with her and how she's just a daddy's girl. She's literally my shadow. It drives Tiffany crazy, but she's also really happy. The two of us do go out on dates to like dinner and movies. Sometimes we just sit in the car and talk and laugh. Mostly laugh. My dad has changed a lot, and the 4 of us are really, really close. He's so much happier. And I think that his girlfriend makes him happy, like made him alive again. He's always doing some weird teaching moments. Like if Tiffany is irritated and walks away, he'll just say, "Well, an irritated woman tends to shop to get her mind off things. Can you afford that?" Lol, so yeah, he's constantly with his little comments. I haven't spoken to my mother at all, and I have no intentions of doing so. Tiffany's parents did come back and try to build a relationship with her, but they always made her feel like garbage, so she cut contact with them. My dad still wants us to buy his house, and I told him that we have no plans on ever moving out. So I told him that I'll buy the house when either I'm 30 or when Tiffany and I get married, and she said not until she graduates and gets a job. So no wedding bells for at least another 2 years. If you ask, Tiffany says that she doesn't plan on getting married until she's 28, so it might be longer, haha.
You're gonna marry your sister. How nice. Way to go.
Wow, Anna.
Wow.
It does sound like a adult-themed movie sub-theme. Because you're a sister, but you're not my sister. You know? Stepsister type thing.
Share a baby with.
Is it really wrong? Yeah. But anyway, only thing I didn't like, bro, is so y'all just gonna ride this out, huh? That's what y'all gonna do. That's the only part I ain't like. Like, to you 30? 30? So I gotta hold. Come on now. But in the current generation, things are a little different, and it's not that easy to buy a house. So now I'm sure they're getting a sweetheart deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the only part that I didn't really like. Everything else was cool. I mean, yeah, I like the fact they started dating. I like all those different things. They're still under the age of 25, so I don't personally hold out a lot of hope for them. But yeah, I'm good with everything. I'm good with everything. It's cool.
I'm sorry, I'm still getting over what Anna said, but let's move on.
Well, what's Anna's thoughts?
What was I wrong?
Marry your sister. No, he was not. He's not going to marry his sister. He's not going to.
His sister. I knew what I meant, and he's going to do.
I know what you did. It is refreshing to see a nice ending to this story. And I'm saying to this story because y'all still 18. I know the United States just love, you're 18, you're grown, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Okay. You're 18.
That's
You're
the
still,
problem of like fairy tales. You have your first kiss and they lived happily ever after.
yeah.
No.
You're still a kid, dude. At 18.
That's
At
why I
19.
said 25.
So you still got some things, but I'm not gonna try to put a hard dead diet spin on it. Oh my God, you just wait till the terrible twos and Tiffany cheats on you when she go to nursing with a doctor. I'm not gonna do all that. Forget that.
Mm-hmm. Just ain't the odds ain't in their favor. Tiffany probably will cheat on him.
The odds was in their favor started at 16.
Yeah.
How could you?
Hold on. The odds were not in their favor of getting pregnant at 16. Sweet little dad over here changed those odds.
Well, sweet little dad. Dad was a full, well-rounded
What?
pops. He gave him the salt and he gave him the sugar. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what helped get them through that phase. Otherwise they could have been homeless, and then you would have seen it spiral, and one of them would have been strung out, and another one probably would not have continued life, and then the child would have been in the system, and then the child would have went down that particular path. There's so many dark ways this thing could have went, and the father stood in the gap as a parent is supposed to do, but he didn't let them off the hook, and he made some decisions that I'm very impressed by. And like, for me, his reactions from the way it was laid out, I would give him a 10. I would have been happy if he had performed at an 8, but he performed at a 10. So the kids have the best chance out of bad chances to hold this thing together. But even if this thing falls apart, they have the best chance of being full functioning co-parents after whatever rough, choppy seas they have to navigate when it falls apart. But I believe that even if it falls apart, they have the best chance to rebound and grow. Right. And I think because that oftentimes gets lost in so many things we talk about is the nuance of reality. Like, reality is complicated and it has layers. And so I think a lot of times when I'm talking about the things that I say, I'm not just being negative. I'm saying, look, this is the reality of what these people can face. Mm-hmm. And coming out of it is not going to be, rainbow and sunshine, but that doesn't mean it won't be good. And it can go bad and then get good, right? Like that's kind of how life works.
And OP, and I'll let Anna have the final word. OP, I'm going to give you one bit of advice. Your mom will come back, and your girlfriend parents is going to come back. But remember, they're going to come back well established. Like, I'm looking into the future. You're married. You got your father's house, money in the bank, and everything else. That's when they're going to come back. Why? Because they don't have to work with you anymore.
I mean, that's possible. They might decide to try to re-enter the equation when the child is finishing elementary school, or the child is on their way to high school, or the child is graduating, or the child is about to get married. Those things can very well happen, and I can't pronounce if that's a good or a bad thing to let them in when those things happen. You might just want to let them in on your terms. Because it serves no one when it comes to certain degrees of family. If there's, it serves no one to just completely shut the door and lock it behind you. I don't know. A difficult way of putting it is the dad performed at a 10. The other parents performed at a 4 to a 2. But in all cases, everybody was performing to the best of their personal abilities. And unfortunately, the best that some of them could muster was really bad.
I was like, okay, I apologize, dude. I'm back. Sorry. StreamYard has been like crashing on me all day.
Well, I feel you, bro. That's why we just kept going.
What I was saying was they're going to come into your life after you're well established with the house and the job and the money in the bank and everything else, and the child in elementary school and everything else. I picked that up from Thea's. The child in the elementary school and everything else. They're going to come back in your life because the hard part is done. They ain't got to raise you. They ain't got to give you no more money. They ain't got to give you the hard part of this drama that happened when you were 16 is over with. So I guarantee you now we need to come back as family. We family. If I didn't kick you out at 16, you wouldn't be where you at right now.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. At the same time, it's BS, but I give it to you. It's true.
Yeah, but how long are you gonna carry that? How long are you gonna carry that load, bro?
It's not having anything to do with carrying it, Theas. You can literally not be in somebody. I cannot carry any weight for somebody who's toxic to me and not dislike you. I don't even have to give a thought to you. You see what I'm saying? It's not. I don't need you to be in my life if I know, one, you wronged me, and two, there's no value of you being in my life.
But how do you know there's no value to them being in your life?
Because why are you coming back now?
Because you have a grandchild.
In other words, Tiffany's parents, boy, now I'm just remembering the girl's name, Tiffany. Tiffany's parents did come back into her life and treated her like crap.
But they were toxic.
So it's like, how many times we gonna do this?
I have
to cut you out of my life.
As many times as it takes.
No.
I know we're different, bro. So
I know.
You from what you're conveying to me, and I could be picking it up wrong. You're more like, look, when I needed you, you didn't come through. So don't try to come through now. And I get it. But at the same time, how long are you gonna carry that? You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't what they needed to be when you needed them back then. But that doesn't mean they can't be what you need them to be within the limits that you set for right now. Right? Like they dropped the ball. They failed. The test was handed out and they drew a Christmas tree instead of answering the questions, right? But now your child is going into middle school. And maybe this is a great time for grandma and grandpa to re-engage. And they have to rebuild that relationship with the granddaughter. And it won't look like what you would have wanted it to be, but it's the one that they need it to be. Do you deprive the grandchild of that relationship because your relationship is screwed up? You know, do you deprive yourself of having a better than negative relationship just because it went negative in the past? Like, it's fine if people decide to freeze people out, but it's like all these things go into it, and it's not always the best solution to just be like, you're dead to me. If that's what you want to do, fine, but just stuff that's going to come with that. You know, how do you look at your baby and be like, well, the reason why you don't know your grandparents is because when I was 16, they kicked us out. Mom and dad, you 30 now. I want to know my grandpa. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm in left field. I don't know. Anna, you're usually the voice of reason.
I'll say it this way. I'll always give somebody a second chance. I really will. I'm literally giving people third chances. But I have.
I'm just going by what you usually say on here, Pam. I'm just going by what you say on here. You ain't giving no second.
I would never be the one and done type person. Like I'm not that person, because everybody can have a bad day or a bad event and they just blow off, and I'm the wall in front of you that you blew off, and I'm like, I'm done with you, man. Like, I'm not that person. But I will always see a certain pattern. If I blow you off and then you come back and you do the same pattern again, and I'm like, okay, bro, hey, I can't keep constantly doing this with you. So what do you want to do? You want to be a friend? You want to be a family member? Or what do you want to do? Because I can't do this with you for the rest of my life because it's affecting me. And obviously it's not affecting you because you're the one that's doing it. As for the kids, my job is to protect my child. And I would be I will put a pause on it. I will have to think about letting these people into my child's life.
Are you
I'm not
protecting
saying I
the
wouldn't
child
do
from
it.
them, or are you protecting you from them by way
I'm
of the
protecting
child?
my
That's a
child
different
from
thing,
them.
fam.
I would protect my child from them because these are the same people who sat there and said, I don't want to be a part of your life until you get married. So what
Right.
part of them would stop them from calling my child a bastard?
See,
And
there's
then
a
sending
difference.
me to try to
You
explain
go in a left field
to my
sometimes, fam.
child what a bastard is.
When did they call that child a bastard?
I didn't say they did because he's not even talking to his mom. And Tiffany never said what the
Right.
thing that they said was,
All I'm saying.
or treated them like trash. But
All
I'm saying I'm always thinking forward of I have to make sure, like, if I would marry my child's life, cool, I'm there too then.
Okay.
Like, you're not gonna have no outings to the park with just the grandparents.
What did they do that will present them as a threat to the child?
How would they show to be a threat with the child when they refuse to even be in that child's life?
So you check
They're not. No,
taking a different step.
wait, no, listen. OP said, oh no, oh, it's Thea's frozen.
No,
Ooh,
I'm still with you.
Okay. I'm trying to talk as quick as I can before the stream y'all say F you and knock me off again. There was no part that seemed to say that OP's mom went out of her way to even get to know the child who's now born, who's now 2. So it's like, I don't see a dynamic where it's like, I don't want to deal with you, OP. I don't want to deal with you. You did wrong. You're not married and everything, but I at least want to see the grandchild. No, the mom kind of made it like, you ain't married, so I don't want to see you or the grandchild.
Okay, that's the mom.
Again, I don't know what Tiffany's parents did. That was it, and rightfully right for him to not say what he did. All he did say was they treated her like crap. So
right.
I don't know what was said or done on that end. But it's not like the grandchild brought the other grandparents together. The only grandparent that was smart enough to think, oh, I got to set up straight with this. With my grandchild is Pa. So that's the only grandparent in this whole story that knew I'm going to be in this child's life and I want to be in this child's life. So I got to do what is best for this child's starting now.
Which is commendable. Yeah. He made arguably what I would say. He made the right decision.
I'll be right back.
He made the right decision, in my opinion, earlier than everybody else did. And that he should get his flowers and he should be celebrated for making the right decision early. But I kind of balk at the idea that a person who makes the right decision late should not also be acknowledged for trying to make up for past mistakes and transgressions. with certain allowances, because I'm not big on forgiveness, don't get me wrong. But to me, the other parent's transgression was against the two parents. And so that relationship was damaged. And that relationship will inform how I parent my child in relation to you. But I need to be aware as that parent that I am allowing what you did to me and how I feel about what you did to me to color what I'm going to say you're going to do to them. Because there's no indication that they were abused as children. There's no indication that they were lacking of love and support as children. It was when they went against what they were taught and the standards that were set for them that their parents overreacted. And there was one parent that was able to see through all the nonsense because of his personal experience to overcome that and say, here's how I will walk in this moment. But the others took a different path, a path that I do not agree with, a path I don't condone, but that was a transgression against those two young people. It is not the transgression to the grandchild. At no point in this story has it been presented that these people are a danger to anyone. Like they haven't been presented as a danger to the parents, a danger to the grandparents. I mean, to the grandchild. It's so I'm not saying open the doors, no conditions, because I'm a pretty hard-hearted guy. But I am saying that you work towards the environment and the world you want your child to inhabit, not the one that you have created a cage around yourself for. Like, that's where it's like the rub for me. Anna, do you see this different? I mean, help me, because I
No,
think I'm out there.
no, actually, there's a big difference if you could point to something that said the parents would, her parents, let's go with, would put the child in danger. There, like you said, there was no abuse. There was the, I don't acknowledge you. That is something that the grandparents and the grandchild are going to have to work incredibly hard to get over, but it's their work to do. And that child is asking. Like in the situation that we are talking about now, the child has asked for their grandparent. Now that doesn't mean it shouldn't be supervised. It shouldn't be, because yes, they did you wrong. Were they violent? Is there anything that shows that they will be verbally abusive? That's where I would start to say you only get my child under certain circumstances. Then, very limited. But that child is asking. And that changes, for me, so much. This is where you set up boundaries. This is where you do a hell of a lot of work, or you show you're not worthy, and basically you start to go separate roads anyway. On the merits of this story alone, there's I do believe in forgiveness. Which is to say, I believe in letting go. Because yes, the longer something holds on to you, the longer it does shape the way you operate. So, but I usually, in the past, I have been somebody who I will support someone in their decision to go no contact. Because every time somebody has described it to me, there has been a line that was so crossed multiple times. And that person was diminishing. You know, every time they would come into, I shouldn't say that person, these people were diminishing every time they would come into contact with whoever they were, you know, then going to cut out. It's not like just a teenager gets mad at the parents and I'm not talking to you anymore. This is something that it happens over a long length, and you know, I know some stories that would break your hearts and make you wonder, how the fuck? Yeah, sorry, I said it, because this is, how the fuck can some people do this to their children, to their family members? Those examples are out there. And the last thing that I will say here, I do kind of smile when people are like, Reddit's not real life. It is. It's people giving reminiscence, their memories. It is people giving their experience. What we have to remember, and I don't mean we up here on the panel, I mean we, all of us, collective. It is anecdotal, and it is biased. This is not something that tells us statistics. This is not, you know, good place to go to get some advice if you really can't see your way out of it yourself. And yeah, some people lie. Some people like the attention. They've learned how to game the system, so to speak, for their attention. There's always going to be that.
Yeah, I would call it a distorted reflection of reality. You know, it's curated samples.
Yeah, yes.
So
Very
some
good.
of it's real, some of it's make believe, all of it's a reflection, but it's not a clear reflection. Like, you know, it's distorted. And as long as you understand it's distorted, then you can keep it in context. It's not like being on social media. There's a lot of negative that flows at you.
Yep.
But the world isn't that negative. The world isn't as dark as our feedback would give us, right? Because we focus on negative. It's a human condition. We focus on negative things because avoiding negative things, processing negative things enhances your ability for survival because you figure out what to avoid, you figure out how to react and all those things. Positive stories do not reinforce survival. Positive stories will get you hurt. So you don't focus on the positive except to help temper what you're seeing of the negative. It's just, it's human. It's you know, you listen to Reddit, everybody's cheating, everybody's evil, everybody's stealing, and everybody's snatching hats and wigs off of bald cancer patient children.
No.
And everybody is insisting that you're homeless despite the fact you own the restaurant. Mic drop.
We are going into the second hour with Am I the A-Hole? Mafia video of the week and Foxy's video of the week. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned. Things grow up.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I always daydreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, finally, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally, finally, finally. I had to burn you. I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Finally.
We are back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Radical Truth to Power tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we will do the news of the week. Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy in all of her endeavors. Tracy did do the Women's Symposium today, so please go check that out on her YouTube page. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hart's website, BorelliEtc.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go to Thea's website, OurUnitedCore.com, Communities Build Movement. Also, Thea's has 2.5 videos on his website, so please go check that out. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And let's go ahead and get into the Mama Heart Hour. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and hit it. Am I the A-Hole? All right, brand new one. Paid to babysit.
I'm a 39-year-old guy, and I live with my wife, who's 34, in a suburban house with our daughter, Emily, who's 10. Our next-door neighbor, Walter, is a 48-year-old single father with 2 daughters, a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl. We've been living here for a little more than 2 years. My wife really likes watching scary movies, but I've never enjoyed them. I get too scared and end up having a bad time, so I prefer to avoid them. Her friends sometimes go with her to the more popular ones, but she also likes older, indies, and foreign horror movies. She's always had a hard time finding people that have this niche interest, and that's why it was such a big deal when we met Walter and found out that he also shares this tendency. They very quickly started to make plans to watch movies together. I was invited to be a part of this, but refused. I prefer to just stay at home babysitting Emily and Walter's daughter while they're out watching movies. Sometimes they go to movie theaters, but other times they just stay at Walter's place watching stuff at his home cinema. They usually have to go to another town to catch some weird movie, so it's normal for them to come back very late. They eventually started doing stuff outside of watching movies, like going out for dinner. Walter invited all of us, including the kids, to go with him to a restaurant that a friend of him owned, but I said no because it was too expensive. I don't like those kinds of places because I feel like they're a waste of money, and I didn't think the kids would enjoy it either. I insisted on staying with the kids and let the 2 of them go be themselves. This has become a regular thing, and in a way, it's a good deal for me because Walter pays for my wife's dinner and she can no longer complain about me not taking her to fancy restaurants. Since their movie and dinner nights have become so common, I've grown a little tired of the burden of constantly babysitting the girls. I talked to my wife and Walter about it, and he explained that he usually doesn't like leaving his daughter with babysitters. He says he's really comfortable knowing that they're being watched by an experienced father like me instead of some teenage girl. He nevertheless agreed that it was too much of a load for me and offered to start paying me a standard babysitting fee each time that he goes out with my wife. I thought that was a fair approach to the issue, but my wife was fully against it. She says that I shouldn't be paid for babysitting my own daughter, nor the daughter of a close friend of our family like Walter. We've been arguing about this, but she insists on this notion and is not open to change. She even gets mad every time that I talk to her about this. Walter promised me that he'll convince her, but he doesn't seem to have been able to do so either. Am I the bad guy?
I must admit, I missed pretty much the entire first half of that story. I will defer to you guys. Yeah.
And I'll let you take it first.
Oh boy. Let us assume that this is just a friendship, nothing more behind it. This is just weird. Like, why wouldn't she? Like, he's offering to pay for the babysitting of his kid. How does this equate into he's suddenly getting paid top dollar to babysit his kid? Like that? What? Yes, the thing was, the wife really liked scary movies, that kind of thing. Husband didn't. She found somebody who really likes scary stories and likes the indie stuff that she does, and they go to a town over and apparently, spend a lot of time. I don't know what to say about that, so I'm saying, let's assume. Like, just the father deserves to not feel like I'm just the convenient babysitter. It does kind of seem like he is outsourcing a bit of his relationship. So there is just a little bit of a weird there's a weird aura to this that is hard to reconcile.
Marlon just froze on us.
Oh no. So just he's Walter is allowing the wife to experience the communal. We saw that movie together. We can talk about it. There are different messages that you could get. It's a little weird that it isn't like a bigger type of a group, but hey, groups start with 2 people. I don't think the wife is fully appreciating how much she is able to go out, do her thing, get her wants seen to. Yeah. I'm still going by. We are assuming nothing untoward is happening.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. There's just a lot weird about this, and just like he's outsourcing part of his relationship. She is. Walter, I get that you keep trying to invite everybody. Dude, you're not gonna get rid of the suspicion by... I don't like this. I do not like this story, Sam. I am.
Yeah, obviously, I missed a lot because I picked up on the wife feeling some kind of way about him getting paid
to babysit
child and the friend. That's what I picked. I missed all of the first part. So I'm sitting here like, okay, so I'm just gonna wrestle with that part. I'm just gonna wrestle with that.
Well, hold on, Theus, because I need you to have full
dynamic.
No, I played all the way up until the babysitting part, so you didn't got to hear the whole thing. I'll stop at the babysitting part since that's what you picked up at, which is the last damn 30 seconds of the.
I was dealing with something with the family. Sorry.
So here we go.
I'm a 39-year-old guy, and I live with my wife, who's 34, in a suburban house with our daughter, Emily, who's 10. Our next-door neighbor, Walter, is a 48-year-old single father with 2 daughters, a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl. We've been living here for a little more than 2 years. My wife really likes watching scary movies, but I've never enjoyed them. I get too scared and end up having a bad time, so I prefer to avoid them. Her friends sometimes go with her to the more popular ones, but she also likes older, indies, and foreign horror movies. She's always had a hard time finding people that have this niche interest, and that's why it was such a big deal when we met Walter and found out that he also shares this tendency. They very quickly started to make plans to watch movies together. I was invited to be a part of this, but refused. I prefer to just stay at home babysitting Emily and Walter's daughter while they're out watching movies. Sometimes they go to movie theaters, but other times they just stay at Walter's place watching stuff at his home cinema. They usually have to go to another town to catch some weird movie, so it's normal for them to come back very late. They eventually started doing stuff outside of watching movies, like going out for dinner. Walter invited all of us, including the kids, to go with him to a restaurant that a friend of him owned, but I said no because it was too expensive. I don't like those kinds of places because I feel like they're a waste of money, and I didn't think the kids would enjoy it either. I insisted on staying with the kids and let the two of them go be themselves. This has become a regular thing, and in a way, it's a good deal for me because Walter pays for my wife's dinner and she can no longer complain about me not taking her to fancy restaurants. Since their movie and dinner nights have become so common, I've grown a little tired of the burden of constantly babysitting the girls. I talked to my wife and Walter about it, and he explained that he usually doesn't like leaving his daughter with babysitters. He says he's really comfortable knowing that they're being watched by an experienced father like me instead of some teenage girl. He nevertheless agreed that it was too much of a load for me and offered to start paying me a standard babysitting fee each time that he goes out with my wife. I thought...
So you made me watch it all over again anyway. But anyway, look. Yeah, my assessment has changed. Walter is dating your wife, and you're gonna end up divorced and heartbroken, and Walter's gonna have two houses. He's gonna have his house and your house, and then he gonna move into your house, and because no woman generally wants to live in a house of a bachelor, and then they're gonna rent out his house, and then you're gonna be living on your best friend's couch and living in a crappy 1-bedroom apartment, eventually not making enough money, and then your life's gonna suck, homie. Just put it out there. And it's already too late. He already got your woman. And even if they not doing something illicit, they might as well be, because all the signs are there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they all there. Like, bro, for real, man. You lost your woman. You are Stephen Miller. That is who. Oh, that's who you are now. And you living next door to Elon Musk. This is your life. Hey. And she's low down dirty anyway, because even if she ain't doing nothing, she knows that she set it up that way. She knows what she's doing. She should logically know what position she's put her man in. So do you really want that woman anyway? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bruh, unfortunately, you lose all the way around. So ain't no good outcome on this one, homie. You, other than you get paid to watch the kids, you know, you are now the cuck, and I feel for you, homie. Especially if you ain't signed up for it. Yeah, I feel for you, dog. Hey, that's my assessment on it, man. You know, I hope you in a good headspace so you don't end up airing everybody out. That's all I can say, man. You in a bad situation, and the demon in all of this is your wife. Because, see, the problem is with familiarity is if you allow somebody to spend too much time together, bad things can happen. So as a married woman, she should never have put herself or you in that situation.
Okay. I agree to a point. I agree to a certain point.
Yeah, it means you're almost right.
I agree exactly what you just said. That woman should have never put herself in that situation, and neither should OP, because the only reason that she was doing all these things was for the fact that he didn't.
Oh please.
I don't like scary movies, so I'm gonna stay home and watch the kids. But you could go and stay over there with the dude in his house, in his movie theater room, watch whatever you want
next door. So his crime is trusting his wife.
And everything. Come on. I'm not saying that something is going on. I'm just saying the optics is saying there's a pretty good freaking chance.
Especially when they start going out to dinner. You know, it's a wrap then, bro.
But your wife is going out to movies together, and each time they have asked you to go, and you come up with, nah. Bruh, what? I don't like that restaurant because it's expensive. Nah, I don't like scary movies. Nah, I don't like these movies. Nah, I would rather stay home and watch the kid. Well, guess what, Hobie? You'll be watching
That's
that
what you'll
kid
do.
time in the near future because that's the custody agreement that you're gonna have right now. Both of you put yourselves in this situation. I put it on the woman, but I'm not taking crap off of you. That
it's a no-win, bro. It's a no-win for this dude. It's a no-win because he can't stop her.
For you. Sacrifice for your woman. You can't always just keep saying, I can't do stuff. I don't like it, so I'm not gonna do it. Too bad, bro. You're
so full of it right now, fam. Come on, bro.
Your woman.
Come on, bro.
Yes.
Come on.
Look.
A movie tape.
This is the part what got me. She wanted to go out to a fancy restaurant. I don't believe in fancy restaurants. So I'm glad he took her to a fancy restaurant. That way she could never say, I never took her to a fancy restaurant. Bro, did you just hear what you just said? You still never took her to a fancy restaurant. He took her to a fancy restaurant.
Not only did he take her to a fancy restaurant, but he put himself in a corner to where now he always sounds like the broke one. I get it. But what I'm saying is you back this up a little bit. There's literally nothing he can do to keep his wife from interacting with the next door neighbor. Zero he can do. Zero. No, but I'm saying, you know, him like, well, she wants to watch these movies, suck it up. Yeah, because she wants to put you in a position that you don't want to be in. It's your fault for not putting yourself into position. Not her fault for understanding that my husband does not like this genre of entertainment. And the best solution is not to go find another man to be in that genre with. I need to find another woman who I can go enjoy these movies with. But instead, I'm going to go with a man because that's who's available to me who likes this niche. So you putting it on the dude, not the woman. Because he wouldn't suck it up and go watch horror films that mess with his mind.
So I'm not going to say that. You're going to have to make some damn sacrifices.
Yes.
You're going to do some things you don't like doing.
Yes.
She's going to do some things she don't like doing.
Yes.
Okay. So you giving your duties as a husband and AKA as a wife, I'll make it just as equal, off to somebody else to do it for you because you don't like doing it and thinking, oh my God, they're just friends. Okay.
Up front,
and you're saying the woman should have been the one to put a stop to this. Come on.
Shouldn't even have walked down the path is the point that I'm making.
The man shouldn't have laid the path.
The man didn't lay the path, and the man can't stop her if she wanted to anyway. Once it was known that they share a genre interest, unless he's going to tie her down and keep her in the house and keep his eye on her, he literally can't do anything but trust her. So his mistake in your scenario is that he made the mistake of trusting his wife, and then he also made the mistake of not doing what she wanted him to do in order to keep her happy when she knew that it was a problem for him. So you are doing this thing where you're caking so hard for the wife, and this man has to deny himself. Bro, that's wild to me. Instead, she shouldn't go anywhere with a single man.
You have to understand. I never said I'm caking for the wife.
I'm not saying you said it. You're doing it. Like everything you said is that.
No. My very first thing that I said was I agree with you to a point. I said the wife is all within this too. I'm just not going to take anything off the husband. Like the wife should have been the one to put a stop to it all along. And that's how it sounds like you're saying. Like,
the wife never should have
asked you to go to the movies with her husband.
Marlon, I enjoy Caribbean food. I love jerk chicken, rice and peas, stewed cabbage, and plantains. I love it. Oh my God, it's a weak point for me. I love it.
Got to the plantain part. Yeah.
That's cool, but I'm saying I love it. My wife don't like that. But I got a coworker, and she's from the islands, and she know how to get down in the kitchen and make that jerk chicken and everything like that. Me being a man married to my wife, I'm not going to go to my coworker and be like, hey, man, can you, fix me up a little plate? You know what I'm saying? I know you how to do it. Can you make me some of that? I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter that I really like the food. It doesn't matter if my wife says, well, she's good at it. Let her make it for you. I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to create a problem where a problem doesn't exist. That is what I owe my wife. It's not my wife's job to stop me. It is my job not to put her in a position where she has to wonder if I need to be stopped. That's what I'm getting at. So like he ended up in a situation where it got out of control. There was nothing he could do at a certain point, and now he just has to lose and hope for the best.
Now, when do you start putting a certain stoppage to it?
Stoppage to this part.
I know I can sit here and say about the scary movie. Okay, we can say that he didn't want to see the scary movie. I get all that. However, every movie they went to was a scary movie.
No, the issue at hand was the genre. They never said they wouldn't go to a comedy or a romantic comedy or something. They said he didn't want to go to this.
Okay, he didn't want to go to the scary movie. He didn't want to go to the scary movie. There's a different genre. They invited him. He still didn't want to go.
They invited him knowing he didn't want to go.
No.
This is manipulation, bro.
I never said that. I said it was a different genre. So the genre wasn't horror. Yeah, it was. They said in the movie that we asked them to go to the movies, and he said no, he would rather stay at home and watch the kids.
Right. They invited him to the movies that they enjoy, which is exactly the movie he doesn't want to watch. Unless I completely missed it, that's the situation.
So let me get this straight there. So the only way I'm going to get my wife to go to the movies with me is I got to find something that she likes?
That's the scenario in the story. That's literally the premise of the story.
Okay. Dash is over here. Dash is my side. Hey, yo, this is Dash. Y'all remember Dash. Sacrifice for sure. We just celebrated our 21st anniversary. Bruh, I go to the theater almost once a month because I compromise. That's all I'm saying. Cool. Suck it up, buttercup. You don't like horror movies.
Not the point
I don't like horror movies. I went and saw okay, you could call it a horror movie. It really wasn't.
Talking about Sinners?
It wasn't a horror movie. It was a great history.
Suspense thriller or something like that.
Yeah. But this is niche. But I didn't know that because it was said to be a horror movie. I sacrificed because Foxy wanted to see this movie. I don't do horror movies. I can tell you the last horror movie I really saw was Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or something. I don't do horror movies. But Foxy wanted to see the horror movie, so I went with Foxy. I made a compromise. I sacrificed to go see something with her because she wanted to see it, not because I wanted to see it.
Bro, this ain't what the story was. The story was she has a niche fetish for a particular type of film. And no one else really fell into that taste, which means this is not your typical, I'm going to watch Saw 3, okay? She likes some of the darker stuff, and she likes the international stuff, and she likes indie stuff. That's very specific. That's very deep. This dude has a similar taste. And that probably came up because the kids are friends and they had a discussion and blah, 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 and wow. Or dude could be playing an angle, which is what single people do. But it could be either one of those. This is not, I want to go watch a George Clooney film and my wife wants to go watch a George Clooney film, and because I don't like George Clooney, I ain't go with this dude. That's not this. You know what I'm saying? They're constantly going to movies in that genre. That's what this is. And then it continued to just move and become more complicated. And it could be that they became just good friends who are parents of friends, and there's nothing untoward going on. But you don't create doubt where doubt doesn't already exist. And yes, you do make sacrifices for your spouse or your partner. You know what I'm saying? You've been married for 20 years. My man been married for 21 years. I've been married for 18 years. We ain't new to this. All right. But there's compromises, and then there's at what point does your spouse, especially been with you this long, does your spouse recognize my spouse really doesn't like this? It's not that they don't prefer to watch it. He really doesn't like this. Given that, you have a duty to your partner. Just like you are speaking to your duty to her, she has a duty right on back to you. So she, given the options in front of her, should have either found a suitable partner to go see these things with, which would not be your next door neighbor, male single friend. There's no constellation in the world where next door single male friend is the best place to land. You know what I'm saying? And your man, your man is all about money because he's trying to keep a household together. This is part of the delusion that happens with people when they're cheating. See, you looking at what your spouse ain't doing. You're not looking at what your spouse is doing. So your spouse can't take you to these expensive restaurants because guess what your spouse has to worry about? The mortgage, health insurance, making sure groceries are there, making sure the power stays on, making sure you can get some new shoes when you need to get some new damn shoes. Guess who doesn't have to worry about any of that? The dude who has a hookup at the restaurant. So it's not even a fair comparison. So that's why I'm saying the onus was on her not to even walk down this path. Now, he now has to respond to where they are. And from what I can see, all his options are bad. All of them. Like, he don't have ain't no positive one out here. What, he could hire a private investigator, prove that she's not cheating on him. Okay, well, that just means she has enough disrespect for you to put you in a position where you had to go hire a private investigator. It's all bad, man. And it's true. Who's to say she's not going to start dating a woman? But you know, the odds now for her to change her sexual proclivities in order for that to come true, you have just now stepped into a different range of opportunities. These are different probabilities we're talking about. Who's to say that if she went by herself, she wouldn't she has a masturbation fetish and she just can't help keep her hands off herself? Who knows? But we do know going out with the single guy next door, it's not smart. It's like severely disrespectful. Severely. And the only way he could have stopped it was to either show himself to be insecure or show himself to be untrusting. And yeah, you can shrug at it, but you're the same guy who's sitting here talking about making sacrifices for your woman because she has a different taste. So you're saying you draw the line in a different place than he draws a line. We're not better than him. Just because I would be the one to be like, oh, hell no, this is a dude. I don't care. You can tell me the man gay. I don't give a damn. You ain't going. That's me, though. And I'm wrong on a different level. But I'm wrong on a different level. Because what does that say about my trust for my woman? So no matter how you slice and dice this, Buddy was in a bad spot. All right, man. It's cool. It's so funny to me how I'm the least forgiving person in the world, and yet I still come out more forgiving than you. It is so wild.
I just want to put this out. Just because I said that old boy should have did something, I'm not taking anything off of old girl. I agree with you on that. I'm just saying there's more blame to spread around than old girl should have did this, that, the third, and everything else. When you, I'm sorry.
What is he supposed to do to stop his wife from cheating on him?
You ain't going out of town with another dude while I'm sitting here babysitting not only my kids but his kids.
How does he stop?
You're insecure. You're damn right, and you're not helping it. So
I'm
what does
feeling
that
you,
what
bro.
does that tell you that you're thinking I'm insecure because you think I'm gonna be okay with you going out of town with another dude for dinners in a movie?
Not the same question. I'm asking you, how does he stop her?
How did he stop her now?
No, period.
No.
How does he stop her?
Period was at the very beginning, which is a long time ago. So how he stop her now?
That's a good point. That's a good point, because that kind of brings us back to our first story. You see, basically, for you, if you were wrong at any point in the past, you're wrong forever. Just ride it out. That's what you've basically expressed between these two stories. If you were wrong in the past, you are now condemned to that wrong move back there. Hey, you just got to ride it out now, buddy.
I don't see the connection of what if you're wrong in the past, you got to ride it out.
In the first story, the girl's parents were wrong when she was 16. Fast forward to being 20 or whatever they were, and they're trying to do better. But you're saying because they were wrong at 16, you don't give them that chance at 20 or whatever it was. Now we come into this one. He made the wrong move when he let them go to see a movie together. And now that they go on to dinner and movies, well, he just got to ride that one out because he made the wrong decision back here. It's a similar train of thought. It's not one-to-one because of different scenarios, but it's a very similar train of thought.
But here's the deal with what you're saying. Me and him are not the same person. So I wouldn't even possibly even give him an advice of how do you stop it now? Because I'm the person that's sitting there going, this would have started to begin with. As a matter of fact, this story really had nothing to do with it. If you listen to it, just really break it down. It, from his point of view, it's had nothing to do with his wife dating. And I'm going to call him the way it is. Your wife
they were dating towards the end of this. They were dating.
He's not even writing about your wife dating the next door neighbor. You writing about how could I get paid for watching his kid? That's your gripe, bro.
No,
so I can't ask you a question about somebody's attitude, but it's like, bro, I wouldn't even have been in this situation.
I respect that. I respect that, but that's where I was pushing back a little bit, and I was saying, given that you and I, and we don't approach things the same way, as is obvious, but neither of us would have co-signed the first part, okay? But we differ in how we would have not co-signed it. Your approach, that at least how you explained it or expressed it, was go watch the movies anyway, because this is what your woman really wants to watch, no matter what it does to you. And then my response is, because I know how this messes with me, no, I'm not going with you. Find somebody else that can go with you, but it ain't gonna be the single dude next door. Like it's
the same. Is the principle of it is we're saying the same thing, just putting it in different formats. Really, I will go with you because you're not going with the neighbor. You're just saying you could go with anybody else other than a single rich ass next door neighbor.
And the next door neighbor ain't even rich. It's his homeboy spot. He getting a hookup.
Or what?
Y'all dating on a coupon.
So yeah, either way, you're not going with the next door neighbor. Okay? That's the end part of all of this. I don't care how we get there, but to get there is you ain't going with the next door, the single father next door neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, what I'm really trying to get at, and I'll leave it at this. When you're in a committed relationship, especially when you're a husband and wife, I believe you have a duty to each other that exceeds your comfort and your preferences. So you know that your spouse doesn't just dislike this genre. Your spouse is disturbed by this genre. So, but you really enjoy the genre. How important is that genre to you, and how much at stake will you put your partner? You have a duty to your partner. Now, your partner also has a duty back to you. How important is this genre to her, to your wife? If it's that important, then perhaps maybe you find a way that once a year we'll go watch something. But that's probably not going to be enough for her. Or maybe she gets her friends group and they go as a group. It ain't going to be no single dude, though. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's ways to navigate this space that doesn't land with going into this environment with a direct competitor to your partner. Like, I just know, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I use the Caribbean food example. It could be 100% innocent, but I'm not going to go eat my co-worker's food that she makes for me that I know if my wife knew about it, even if she don't say she got a problem with it, even if she says it's okay with her, I know with reasonable suspicion that this is not the right thing for me to do to her. It's food. It's a movie, right? This is where Suck It Up Buttercup comes up, but it comes on the end of the person who's having to deny themselves something that's not integral to themselves. You know?
And I'll end it with this, and then I'll give it to Anna because she's in the middle of having a damn ball. Oh no, am I frozen again?
No.
Marlon, you're back now. Well,
Hello,
no, you're
hello.
not. Well, Marlon, you're back now.
Oh, I heard you the whole time, but no, like, okay, keep going.
What say you, Anna?
There was so much of this that was there were red flags everywhere. Marlon, are you back?
That StreamYard do not like me today, buddy, at all. And Anna, I was gonna give it to you, but I was just gonna give my argument to Thea. Not an argument, but my place with Thea's about the sacrifice. Yeah, it would be Foxy saying the same thing. She likes Caribbean food and I don't, which is a flat lie. Cause good God, I could kill some dang Caribbean food. Woo, but anyway, that's not the point. My point is, she like Caribbean food and I don't. And she tells me some dude who's from the Isle, she would never do it. I'm just saying, just to use this dude's analogy, okay? But some dude at work is from the island. But great. He knows how to cook Caribbean food, and I haven't had it in a long time. Me, I will be the dude that will go on YouTube and Instagram and everything to learn how to cook Caribbean food for her. Even though I don't eat it, even though I have no desire to eat this, even though it'll be a one-plate special, and the only person who's going to have a desire out of this is her, I would be that person that would do that. That's why I said the sacrifice thing. I would do it for her. Now, and mind you, I'll put in what you said too, Theas. This shit is expensive. So this ain't gonna be a once a week kind of situation. I don't even think it's gonna be a once a month situation because Oxtail is like, woo.
The twist to this, bro, would be what you just said. Like, I would learn how to do the thing, but you're allergic to it. See what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
this dude didn't just not like it; it really disturbs him. Like, that. I think that's an element that's important. Like, he didn't just dislike it; Like he sit through I mean, they're a couple, they're married. I'm sure he sat through stuff he doesn't really like, and she's done the same.
Right.
But this disturbs him.
This brought him to a mental place where he was uncomfortable.
But go ahead, Anna. You got the last word.
I had tried so hard to say, let's not say that it's gonna go sexual. Because I had a sinking feeling from the moment it was about the wife liking not just scary movies, but this particular niche of independent stuff that really gets your adrenaline going. This is a fetish. Whether she saw anything out of her titillation in the beginning, questionable. The more they put themselves in a private screening room, and the more the adrenaline is pumping, and you're feeling this person over here sees something that my spouse doesn't. This is bad. This is bad. Like, I don't know if she would have stopped at just come and see a scary movie with me. I don't think that fulfills what she's looking for. Sorry, I've seen this play out where people have this love of being scared, spooked. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like the husband can go, but he's just present. This guy is in community with her. This guy is,
Yeah,
it's different. It's
yeah.
intimate.
I don't like it. I
Sorry.
really no. Thank you, because you buffered up what I was trying to say that wasn't quite coming. It just like this is a point where I really I would have counseled this couple to say, "Are you truly aligned?" Because this is going to be an issue. The way she put that forward. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with liking scary movies and getting something out of that. There is something wrong with going and even self gratifying and going through that intimate of an experience with just, as was said, the single next door neighbor. It's just weird. There was so much here that it just it fell right into her lap that, woo, a neighbor moves in and just happens to like the same things. Okay.
Yeah, like in her head, this could be. I'm not saying I'm going into like next phase stuff.
Yeah.
God literally gave her soulmate.
Yeah. Yep.
I was literally was going to say that,
Mhm.
and it's going to sound like I'm contradicting my own self. I'm not, because I'm only speaking for myself when I say this. But if I'm going to go levels like this says, this woman literally could be looking for somebody who don't want to sacrifice, but it's just like her. So they're not making sacrifices. To make a sacrifice means she has to pick a movie that she wants to see, and the husband would have to say, "Okay, fine, I'll go see it." Compared to the next door neighbor who's, "Let me show you my collection. We can stay here all night and watch hours and hours of horror movies, and we can just have a ball." So, which would be easier on the wife?
No, for me, it's just it's selfishness and short-sightedness.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I know this is an outdated thinking. No, God doesn't tell us to cheat. But I'm saying that if you're doing something, you will rationalize things in order to it to make sense for you.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, you have a husband who takes care of all the things that, you know, a husband's supposed to do, that he's honor bound to do, but he doesn't really meet you in this area that is very important to you. Well, for whatever reason, it's very important to her. And so then this other guy comes along and he can do all of, at least he appears to be able to do all of the things that the husband can do. But see, he feels a void. He feels a hole that you didn't really realize you had. You didn't really realize that you were missing this. And then here's this guy. He's the father of 2 girls. He's running his household. He's a stand-up guy. And he likes what I like. It just clicks. It just falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, you're not open to anything. At first, you're not entertaining anything. You love your husband. But because you've let your guard down to step into this space, new things can enter in that you no longer have any control over. This is why I tell people, be careful who you spend time around, because the longer you spend time around someone, the more you will find things that you do like. You could be around someone that is physically not what you say you like. But if you spend time with them and you get to know their spirit, you get to know their personality. In this case, you get to know this, you have the same unique taste in entertainment. Like, now infatuation can start to grow and you're still holding it back, but it's growing now. And so you put yourself in a position to become compromised. You didn't walk into it looking to be compromised. You find yourself compromised. And the best way to avoid that is to allude to what Marlon was saying in a way. Don't even go down that path. Don't open the gate, right? Where we kind of disagree is I feel it was her responsibility not to open the gate. not his responsibility not to open the gate, because he'll spend all day trying to keep gates closed. She's the only one that can bar access. She's literally the only one. And he owes the same level of discretion to her. It's just bad. This is just bad. And it didn't have to be this way. But here we are. And perhaps it did need to be this way. Perhaps this thing has run its course, and this is what has been inserted into your universe to force y'all to face decisions that you didn't want to face before. And Tracy, this is where I'm saying God could put things in your place. See, I don't have the same view of God that you do and some other people do. So if you're going to give this apparition this particular point of authority, sometimes God has to push you into an environment where decisions have to be made. Sometimes you have to be made uncomfortable so that you can find your way to the next part. I know that's Christian teaching. I grew up with it. So it's just sometimes it's awkward when we employ it. We usually employ it to our convenience. But in this particular case, it could be these people are not in a good space. The only reason they're together is because they got kids and they need a push. And then the push moved in next door. So there's so many ways you can spin it. It's just, to me, however you land on it, secular or spiritual, it's just bad. And she failed her husband and he failed himself.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna end it with this. This is not a good spot at all. We're arguing over the whole dynamic of the next door neighbor and all this, and she should have, and he could have, and they could have, and all this dinner and a movie and whatever, and is there something going on and everything else. We totally missed a part of the story where this dude is just complaining that he's not getting paid for watching the next door neighbor's kid.
Oh, sir, stop.
That's his, that's his whole argument. We dug deeper than old boy who's wrote the freaking post.
You know why I dismissed that? I dismiss that because that's how people cope when they're in a bad situation. They try to grasp onto something that they can argue about. Because if he fought about what was really going on, he'd have to have a resolution that he may not like. But we can argue about, should I be paid to babysit your lover's daughters? Like, you know, because it's like, cause that's the argument, right? Well, it doesn't make sense. If we're going to go out and you know we got to go out and the kids get along, why are you going to charge him for the, why are you concerned if I'm charged? Right? So they're avoiding the actual fight by having the secondary fight. But that secondary fight will eventually get them to the fight they have to have.
All right, everybody. Let's move on. Mafia video of the week. This is a little segment, and to be honest with you, I have met each and every one of these people borrowing money.
Okay, why you say you need some money? Okay, but didn't you just get paid last week? They done cut your hours? Did you tell your man? Because your man have a job, right? So don't that one of y'all have no money? What's going to happen if you don't get it? You couldn't get no payday loan? Not you asking me to borrow some money. my, how the tables turn. Because see, when I had asked to borrow some money from you, you was like, So I'm going to have to get it back to you. See, I could give it to you, but that ain't what's going to help you. We got to get to the core issue of that problem. You need financial literacy, my sister. You need credit repair. You need to call Chanel with the credit couple so she can get rid of those late payments, the collections, the inquiries off your credit profile. That way, when you come up in another bind, you can call the bank for a loan, not me. Maybe you need to cut out all this spending you doing, huh? All this shopping, all these long nails you got. Maybe you need to quit all of that spending so you'll have something on a rainy day, because my sister, it's sure to rain someday. Ooh, I might can help you, but let me ask my husband first, because we're a team and, everyone respects the money in our household. So, like I said, I might, but let me check with my husband. Hey, babe, Shayna's broke and they need us to loan them some money. I guess they've mismanaged funds. What do you say? Now, I give it to you because you're mine and I love you. But what is he doing over there laid up with you for free? He can't help, huh? I keep telling you, why would he buy the cow when he getting the milk, the yogurt, the mozzarella, the ice cream? He getting all of it for free. Now, he got to go if he can't help. This is ridiculous. Now, you know not to ask me for no money. I ain't got it. I was going to borrow some money from you. You ain't got it either. Now what else going to do? Lisa, can I take this milk home? Okay, thank you. Honey, I don't... Girl, it's hard times right now. Girl, now you know whatever I got, you can have. How much do you need? You just pay me back whenever you can. Girl, you know I got you. So you know that I love you so very much. And I would do anything for you. But this is business. So I have created a payout schedule for you. If not paid back in full within 30 days, there is a 3% interest rate. So I actually just need your signature here. And you can get your money. Girl, I would, but I don't have nothing to give. I mean, I would, but I don't have it.
I'm not sure which one I like the most.
The mozzarella. I love that one.
The mozzarella, the yelling mom and everything, that was my grandma.
See, the thing about the mozzarella one,
Huh?
and this is me reaching just too deep, and I know it. I've never liked the analogy because you're basically calling yourself a cow. Why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? He getting the milk, the cheese, the mozzarella. You're equating yourself to a beast of burden who only is there to serve a purpose. Like, I get it, but I'm just saying that's why I've always had problems with that particular analogy.
Okay.
And then the one she's like, well, he can't help. He probably already floating a bunch of her damn bills. Like, if she got spending problems,
you know what? I have to say this, and I thought about that when I was watching all the videos. It's like, he can't do nothing. He can't do. Who said he wasn't? Like, shit comes up short, regardless of. Two people can still come up short. It's the way it is. Time gets rough for two people, but you just like, I don't know. It just come out to me like he's the man, so you should never come up short. Like,
yeah, that's a really unfortunate framing that exists in our society. And what's really wild, taking it to our community, but this is just part of everybody's community, I guess, here in America. But to hold on to that outdated thinking when we know we're in an environment where women out-earn men in certain cases. Like, where the men out-earn the women, they are already good. But where in a lot of the working class families, the woman a lot of times makes equal to a little bit more, if we're talking, especially in the Black community. So
really?
Oh, yes. The Black women are the most rapidly educated group in America. They're underpaid for their education, but even being underpaid at a master's degree is better paid than a high school degree. Okay, let's just be, So you have that disparity.
Let me say this, Anna. Would you be more shocked to see? Oh, let me put it a different way. Would you be more shocked to see if there was a Pell Grant, so to speak? Would you be more shocked to see a Pell Grant for a Black male? No, it's not a trick question.
More than
A Pell Grant for a black male, just a regular
it
grant.
wouldn't.
Okay, you would not be shocked to see a Pell Grant for a black woman.
I'm not sure I'm 100% with you, bro.
Because I haven't finished.
No, I'm just saying. What are you asking the question?
Because the third question is this. But would you be shocked to know that the Pell Grant for the black woman would be more for the black woman than the black male? Now, this is not guessing. This is not a guess. I literally looked it up recently. A Pell Grant for a black woman to go to college is more than for a black male.
What's the context?
For a black female is more than for a black male. Yep.
What's the context of that? Because I believe when I got my Pell Grant, it's based on the income of my parents.
I was gonna ask, what is a Pell Grant? I'm not.
Pell Grant is a grant from the government to help people go to college who come from a particular income band. Right? They're a lot more scarce than they used to be.
Okay.
When I went to college, it was common. But now it's a lot less so.
And you had to get this big
I got sick right at 17, so I basically my experience is drastically.
Yeah. It wasn't that easy to get. Like, you had to either come from a quote unquote impoverished or lower working class family, or what I would often see is you're now 18, so you declare yourself. Your parents no longer declare you, so now you're able to get the Pell Grant in your name, and you're broke, right? So it will help you, you know.
And you also used to have to go to the library and get a book this thick.
The FAFSA, original FAFSA.
And just flip through it and get the address of the people who's given the grant and write them.
But no,
a lot of fun.
The reason why I was pushing just a little bit there, Marlon, so I could understand, is because with the Pell Grant,
maybe I'm using the Pell part of it wrong. Maybe I'm just saying grant because I don't know.
Well, grants and scholarships in general.
Yeah.
Like if we bring it up to like that point, I think we also, it's worth having that discussion only because we're talking about black. More black women graduate high school than black men. So entering into elementary school, more black boys enter into elementary school than black girls because more black boys are born than black girls. But by the time we're finishing high school, more black girls are graduating high school than black men because black boys are systematically disenfranchised by the time they get through middle school. So there's different pressures and different distractions that we fall prey to. And there's targeting that happens. All kinds of stuff happens, right? Not to be a woe is me type of thing.
I get it.
But that happens. So then you're and that distorts our numbers again. So now you're going to see a lot more black women or black girls getting scholarships, grants, and so forth. Then you're going to find black men because the pool has shifted in such a way. So I think that just I know that's not the same point, Marlon, and I'm not, I apologize, but it's just add that extra color to it, But what was the we were talking about the man being expected to be able to just cover things. This one, it disproportionately hits the black and the brown community just because of where we sit socioeconomically compared to, white and Asian counterparts.
Right.
But the stigma still applies across the board, where the guy is just expected to be the high earner, but we're not adjusting that for reality. We're going more off of what we imagine the past to be, and we've kind of reimagined the present, to be. But that's a different discussion in this video, of course. Because one of the things is it took certain liberties, right? And it changed. It changed throughout the different skits. Because in one skit, apparently he's unemployed, sitting in the house playing Xbox. because she was like, well, he laying up on, lay up underneath it, but he ain't going to work, right? So that's one.
Right.
Another one was, well, why are you coming to me? Well, your man should be able to help. You should never be broke if you got a man. That's another, which is a very disastrous thought process that mainly affects working class and below households, because he could be working his butt off. Doesn't mean he's making enough to keep up with not just your spending habits, but just what's needed to get through. Like right now, most households can't put their hands on $500 cash money, right? That's most households. That's black, white. That's you just drop a bomb. Here's $500. He ain't got it. Right. Then there's like the other one we were talking about. Can't you get a payday loan? Right. So this is I love how this wasn't probably how she intended it, but she hit so many different levels of society. And then there's like the one they're talking about, the payday loan. Well, can't you go get a payday loan? Okay, payday loan's going to charge you like 35-40% interest. You got to pay this back within 2 weeks. So you borrowed this money. You borrow $500, you got to pay back $750, and you got to do that by next week when you get paid. So now your next paycheck is short, not just the $250 of interest, but the $500 you borrowed. So now you're in the hole almost $1,000. Guess what you have to do? You got to go get another payday loan. So now you're just trading time and you're losing ground at each iteration, but you have no choice, because once you hit that second to third payday loan, you're done. Right? You're locked in.
Right.
So you might recover from the first one. You ain't getting past that third one, So you have that. And then there's the business one. It's like, hey, yeah, baby, I want to help you, but here we go. If you pay me back within 30 days, I'm like, great. If you don't, then it's going to be a 3% interest. 3% interest from your business friend. It sounded kind of cold. It sounded kind of callous, but look at this. Your business friend is saying, I got the cash. I'm going to give it to you 0% interest, provided you pay it back in this period of time. So that's just a friend giving a friend some money. Yeah. But if you don't pay it back in that time, I'm going to charge you 3%. Well, the going rate is 25 to 30%. Huh? You just got one heck of a deal. But this deal came with some accountability. So that's that. So like a lot of my friends are business people and they got more than I got. So if I went to them and asked for money, odds are they would just give it to me. But if they didn't, it would sound like that, right? Then you got what was the other one? You want to just I got to call my husband.
Yeah.
Right? Which I thought was so cool and so true to life. I think it was kind of petty the way she was talking on the phone. Right? But it was cool because
it's money. Yep.
She was giving her husband
broke his hell and
the reason to say no.
Right. She was giving her husband the framing he needs so he can play the bad guy. Because I don't know about everybody else, but like in my marriage, when we first were getting married, we agreed between the two of us, I will be the bad guy for your family. You'll be the bad guy for my family.
That is so good.
So if my wife calls me on the phone and it comes across as, hey, babe, XYZ, whatever her name is, she needs to borrow some money. Can we help her? My question on the other side of the phone would be, how much does she need? Because the way you frame that question to me is you want me to say yes. I just need to know how much we're talking about to see if I have to say no. Right? But if you get on the phone with me, XYZ needs to borrow $500 because she spent too much money last week. Can we help her? You have now told me you want me to say no. I don't need any more details. So my job now is to be like, nah, we just ain't got it. Right? Like that's that marriage code that I picked up, on that side. I thought it was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Tracy, to answer your question, I showed your Mafia video of the week last week. So I don't know what you're talking about, but anywho, Foxy's videos of the week. right, everybody. This is the last segment of the night. If you haven't hit that like button, please do so at the time. Could this be true?
Wait, rookie cop this in New can't be York. One day
true,
he's tasked
right?
with escorting 4 scientists known as the Ghostbusters to the mayor's office. He overhears what Egon and the other Ghostbusters are explaining about paranormal activity. Being a nice, talkative young man, he keeps asking questions. He eventually gets the Twinkie explanation from Egon. He was also there to witness Gozer, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, the near destruction of all life on Earth. Unable to think clearly, he accidentally shoots a 13-year-old boy because they thought the kid had a real gun. The shooting was investigated. He was found to have not done anything wrong, but it was time for a change of scenery. He transfers to L.A., where he's forced to work a desk job while his work probation runs its course. We see him in Die Hard buying Twinkies. His knowledge of Twinkie ingredients and willingness to tell John McClane about it shows his obsession with the food since leaving New York, and Egon's explanation won't leave his brain. He's still not in a good place mentally. We start to see the cracks forming in his reality. He admits to the store clerk that Twinkies are for his pregnant wife. But this is just a made-up lie to himself to appear normal because he's not an everyday guy. There's not a wedding ring on his finger. He's beginning to build up an alternate reality in his mind because he tells John McClane the same thing. He even starts to hang on to the hope of forming a quick friendship with John. Unfortunately, the events that night at Nakatomi Plaza force Al into murdering again in the line of duty after almost being killed by terrorists. John moves on with his life, and the police chief takes all the credit for saving the day. This nightmare is at its peak for Al Paul, and he's admitted to a mental institution where he completely breaks down. To escape the pain, he creates an alternate reality in his head where he becomes Carl Winslow, a family man in Chicago as far away from the coast as possible. He's still a cop, but his duties never interfere with a solid, loving home life. He has a wife, 3 kids, a sister-in-law, a mother, all surrounding him, giving him support whenever. He is safe. He is happy. However, the guilt of his real life is manifesting itself and bubbling underneath until it finally pushes its way into Al's dream world. A 13-year-old boy named Steve Urkel.
Oh my!
The very same boy that Al killed accidentally back in New York.
Oh no!
With nothing to offer but being obnoxious, interrupting Al's peaceful dream existence, Steve haunts him like an angry spirit, causing frustration. Carl's powerless. As each horrible torture befalls Carl and his family, his tormentor cries, "Did I do that?" Only to serve and mock Carl even more, because Carl did do that. He killed the boy. The harder Carl tries to suppress his guilt, the worse it becomes. It becomes so unbearable that his peaceful life turns into a horror flick, eventually giving him a heart attack and having his family disappear one by one. Carl's Winslow dream reality crumbles, leaving Al Powell alone in a straitjacket and padded room until he died.
Somebody's Gen X parent did this to them. Like, this video screams millennial Gen Z, and the fact that family matters enough to go back and pull these threads together. There was a Gen Xer involved in this monstrosity, because Die Hard is our movie, Ghostbusters is our movie, Family Matters is our show, but it tied it together so well.
I did not know that he played a cop in Ghostbusters.
I forgot. I completely forgot.
I'm like, I forgot. So you're telling me that this one guy played a cop in 2 different movies and a TV show, right? So there's your, I don't believe it, but still, my point is the fact that they were able to connect. He's a cop, and now he's a cop. And the last time he was a cop was a Ghostbusters, a very chaotic. It was a good movie, but it was a chaotic movie, ghost and chaos and everything on around. Die Hard, same genre. good movie, but it was a chaotic action film, blah, blah, blah. Way off the grid to Family Matters. A wholesome family, down to earth, Black family in the suburbs type, but he was a cop in all three. So, how can we make the connection? There's no chaos in Family Matters until Steve Urkel. And compared to the other two things, Steve wasn't a chaos. He was just
well, Steve was an instrument of chaos, bro.
He was annoying. Well, at a certain season, they started just tearing up the house. Like, bro, how did you get your house rebuilt so fast? Cause, good God, he's tearing up the kitchen. He's blowing up the living room, and then the next scene, everything is back to normal. I'm like, you have some really good home insurance.
But that also feeds into this, right? So he was a cop, traumatic, mental break. Now he's in a make-believe land. And in his make-believe land, he is formulating a peaceful, well-adjusted world. And then the chaos agent comes in to torment him for his past sins. And so that's why it keeps resetting. No matter what happens in his world, no matter if his house explodes or the kitchen falls in, it's all put back together because his mental state is so broken that he's back into an idyllic moment. He's trying to push himself back into it, but then the chaos agent comes back. It is hilarious how they put all of that together, and it makes perfect sense, right? Like it all lines up. It all lines up.
Anna, you got everything, or you just really did not like this?
Sorry, like I couldn't follow. Brain.
Are you feeling okay?
You okay?
No.
Was it because of the video?
Not sure.
You want to call it a night, then? And I'll see you tomorrow. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night, Anna.
Good night, Anna. Get some rest.
All right, let's go on to the I'm gonna play this tomorrow if Anna comes on, because this is her type of stuff that she likes to listen to. Dumb question.
You have any kids? Yes, I have one daughter. How about you? How many baby daddies do you have, if you don't mind me asking? Ellipses. I have one daughter. I understand that is she by the same father.
This is when you just push block and just move on, because no. I done got to the point now where if I got to use more than one brain cell on a stupid question, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to push block and everything else, because you're not going to get it. One daughter, how many fathers do you have? How many fathers? What? How many fathers do it take to have one daughter? I'm just curious. Just curious. In your world, not mine, reality. In your world, how many fathers does it take to have one child?
Yeah. You know what's really sad? The
Hmm.
dude was probably sincere in asking that question.
I know. But sincere don't mean you get to use my time.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't entertain stupid.
I can't. No. 2 more videos. Joke.
The other day, I noticed that my refrigerator was empty, so I decided to go to the supermarket and do a little grocery shopping. Well, anyways, while I was at the supermarket, I ran into this man that I recognized. So I was wondering, should I wave at him or just walk past him without saying a thing? But see, I'm a friendly person, so I just waved at him. And that's when he started looking at me like he didn't recognize me, so I just went on about my business. But all of a sudden, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and when I turned around, it was him. He said, "Excuse me, but do you know me?" I just started smiling at him, and then I said, "I think you're the father of one of my kids." That's when he started looking really confused, and it looked like he was thinking about the only time he's ever been unfaithful to his wife. Then he said, "Oh my God, are you that stripper from my bachelor party that I made love to on the pool table with all my buddies watching, while your partner whipped my butt with wet celery?" I looked at him with my eyes wide open, and then I said, "No, I'm your son's teacher."
Only reason I'm not laughing is because I've heard this joke a few times. But dude.
Only reason I even put it on, I knew this. I heard the joke before myself. I did. But you think that I'm gonna take the higher ground, and I'm not. But you, without going into great detail, you and the wet salary. I don't understand what's going on with that. Because one, why it happened. 2, why did you have to go into great detail without exactly knowing if this was the stripper or not?
Well, he wanted to make sure if she was a stripper, that she was the right stripper. So he gave extra details.
So he definitely would have remembered the wet noodle.
Absolutely. If you were at a party where there was wet celery being slapped around, you will remember that party.
But would you wanna?
I don't know. Sounds like a wild party.
We ain't friends no more, bro.
All I can say to him is,
I'm sorry. You going around get slapped by wet vegetables.
He doesn't understand the concept of to the grave. See what I'm saying? Like,
thank you.
To the grave. I don't care if she was the stripper. You don't know her. To the grave. You're the father of one of my kids. Excuse me? Like that's what
I'm saying. Excuse me? What do you mean, ma'am? I don't understand. Well, what are you saying?
It's like getting pulled over. Go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, that's like getting pulled over by the cops and being like, and they ask you, "Do you know why I pulled you over tonight?" And you saying, "Is it the body in the trunk?" Sir. But hey, the best thing about crooks, even though this isn't criminal, but the best thing about crooks is they're usually kind of dumb. So they kind of help you out in the long run.
It does make your life easier. If he was a cop, I mean.
Yeah. But in this case, yeah, sir. Yeah. This will never get back to your wife because I seriously doubt the teacher will bring this up to anyone except her friends and her coworkers and
it's gonna get back to the
random person at the bar.
Yeah, it's gonna get back to work. Because somebody gonna tell somebody who's gonna tell the child.
Ain't nobody gonna tell that child. Ain't nobody gonna tell that child.
Please.
Ain't nobody gonna tell that child.
Yeah. You're right. Right. We're like, them kids ain't as nice as they used to.
Oh yeah, the kids are horrible.
It's gonna change from he was getting slapped by salary to slap with carrots to slap with a cute stick. The story's going to change. Yeah, it's going to get back. Somebody's gonna say something to that kid. I heard your daddy like to get slapped with. Yeah. Because it ain't gonna come out as I just need you to know this. We talking about kids. So they're gonna be picking on the little kid going, well, at least my dad didn't get slapped with a wet celery. What are you talking about?
I'm just trying to figure out how it gets from the teacher to the kid. But that's a whole nother thing.
Somehow. Anyway, last video of the night. This was for Thea's only because, and I'm gonna get rid of the joke thing because I'm gonna show both of these tomorrow. Only because Thea's actually said this or something similar to this last week. So I'm gonna play it tonight. I'm gonna play it tomorrow because I'm lazy and don't feel like looking up these videos again. But you said something similar to this either last week or the week before or something similar to it. So let's go ahead and get into it.
If you could say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud, all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America's going to look like if this continues.
Did you ever think that your job would be impacted in a Trump administration?
No, absolutely not.
I never thought the lepers would eat my face. No, I never thought the lepers would eat my face. We bonded over bigotry, but they weren't supposed to turn on me. No, I never thought the lepers would eat my face. Slow it down now. I never thought the lepers would eat my face. No, I never thought it would happen to me. Bonded over bigotry, but they weren't supposed to turn on me. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my
Visit shop.francesca.net to get your
So I am so happy for this sister that she came up with that little jingle early in this whole season. And she was not only able to go viral, but she has found a way to capitalize on it. She's got endorsements. Well, not necessarily endorsements. She gets paid for the usage and her likeness and all that. So I'm so happy she found a way to turn this into a business. This new generation, these younger generations, man, I am so impressed with that ability to kind of like really seize the moment and make things happen. As far as like the lepers eating your face and the FAFO thing, I'm of mixed opinion. How I felt about it earlier and how I feel about it now is quite different. But yeah.
Leopard eat my face. That's just new to me. Or the lion eat. You're surprised when a lion attacks you or things like that. I didn't learn about it until Trump got elected. I don't think I'm mixed about it. I guess if I had to put it in to an emotion, is I don't have an emotion to it. Like I can't see how I can come up with emotion. I can't be mad at you. I can't be sad at you. I can't be told you so and everything else, because nothing that I would say is going to change what the results is or the reality of what's going on now. I find it entertaining. I get it. Never ate my face. Why are you complaining and everything else? But to me, I just sort of don't deal with, I can't believe he, and I just, okay. But what are you going to do about it? This is the reality of it. It's sort of like the first story that we was talking about is, or the main story that we was talking about. I can punish you for getting pregnant at a 16-year-old. How is that going to change the reality of what we are right now? Because we're in the reality right now. So am I supposed to be sad for your situation? Am I supposed to be mad at you for the situation? Am I supposed to be, I don't know what my whole thing has always been, what is your end goal when you say stuff? What exactly are you expecting to get out of what you said or what you did or how you reacted? What is your end goal? So I never understood the end goal of, well, we got screwed by Trump and everything else. Okay, that's true. You did. But now what? What did you expect to get out of what you just said? Because what you said is not going to change reality. Nothing you said is going to change what's about to happen or what's happening now. You didn't listen to us when we said don't do it. So why are you telling us this now? It was the same thing as when they were saying, where are the black people we was trying to protest? We protest for God knows how long. You didn't listen to us then. So you gonna listen to us now? The answer to that is no. And fortunately and unfortunately, I'm talking to my white cousins out there. Fortunately and unfortunately to you, depending on how you see it, you have proven that you don't need us to protest at all. You proven that. So you can do it again and again and again. You don't need us to be out there with you. So what I see about this lady losing her job, when I see about what do anybody cares about Nebraska woman and all this stuff? What's your end goal when you say stuff like that? And if you don't have one other than I just want to say stuff, okay, you have every right to say what you want. I have every right to tell you it's not changing anything.
I guess when I say I'm mixed is like, you know how I have a lot of, or at least I try to convey anyway, a lot of empathy and understanding for individuals in domestic situations and family situations. But I operate in multiple lanes simultaneously. So the leprosy in your face, and I have there's nothing here. Like, it's empty. I don't have any empathy for the people who voted for this. I don't have any more empathy for a MAGA voter than I would have had for someone who voted for the Fuhrer, or someone who voted for Andrew Jackson, or somebody who voted, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am for that entire group, whatever your motivations. Now, there's a different part of me that does understand there are levels to this. You know, everybody who voted that way, they didn't do it out of racism. Everybody who voted that way didn't do it out of cruelty. Everybody who voted that way didn't do it for authoritarianism. But everybody who voted that way decided none of those things were deal breakers. So even if your mission or your intention wasn't to cause harm, your intention wasn't to avoid it either. So I can't find any empathy for you. So you're losing your job because of Doge. If you voted for this, I got nothing for you. Your family member is being deported. If you voted for this, I got nothing for you. Right? So that's that part. But then there's another part, like the leper is eating your face. If you really kind of think of it the way I am, that is saying you had the capacity to set leopards loose into the population. You chose to send this into the masses. And you are now surprised that when you opened the cage and let the leopards out, they didn't stop at just attacking the people that you pointed them at. They got you too, right? That's the whole premise of leopards eating your face. They're not just attacking you, they're attacking the people you wanted them to attack. You're just surprised at getting you too, right? So it's like, how do I feel for somebody who does that? I just can't, right? But
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I have to say this before I forget, because I was going to push back on you on one statement that you made, that some of them did not vote for harm.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of them did.
No, I'm saying they did. That's what I say. Some.
They just didn't think it was going to harm them. If it harmed somebody else, well, laminated paper with all the excuses of why they should be harmed and everything. They're just amazed. You know how I always say the things that Clinton and Obama did was good for the black community. People say what things that Obama and Clinton did for the black community was a real good, and I always say, was it or was it a byproduct of the stuff they was doing for the whole country? This is about the same thing. The harm to you is a byproduct of the harm they was going to do to everybody else.
I agree with that.
You just got caught in that same bubble, and you did not know that.
No, I agree with that. It's just what I'm getting at. And please, those who see this segment, you have to process what I'm saying with a great deal of nuance. Okay. At the end of the day, I have no compassion for MAGA. They by their own actions and inactions are a threat to every community that I hold dear. So I can't feel for you. I'm like a Northern Yankee soldier and you're a Confederate soldier. We do not believe in the same things. We are not here facing each other because of a misunderstanding, right? But where the nuance comes in is understanding what you're up against, because to me, it really helps define how and who you're fighting, right? So for me, what is the good of the economy? So here are some of the things MAGA kind of proposes. We're going to have a great economy. We're going to have full employment and clear skies, right? That's what they say. But only if we can get rid of this group, and this group. Well, if I'm in one of those groups, why do I care if you get those first few things? It's not from me. I'm not even in this. Like, I literally have to be removed for you to have this thing you're talking about. So why in the world would I support you in doing that thing? Right? That's how I kind of view that, right? So for me, and I'm not sure if this is the right order, but like very high on my list is racial justice, right? It's humanity. It's a social safety net. Like, these things are like way up there at the top for me. But every MAGA person some MAGA people may have those exact same priorities. They just don't have them as high as I do, right? So above those for them could be, number one, I want to make sure my children have an economy that they can engage in and live a better life than I got to live. Number two, I want a strong national defense so that if something ever happened, America could respond to it. And number three, I want to make sure that there are no more unplanned abortions, and there are no more abortions, period, right? That's their 1, 2, and 3. Well, for the sake of discussion, let's say that that's my 7, 8, and 9. Mm-hmm. So it's not that we don't share certain priorities. It's where we rank things. Like, I can't get past racism and the social safety net to get to those other things. Whereas for you, you're able to put that a little further down the list. We're still at odds. I can't work with you, right? And that's why I was saying with MAGA, everybody's not motivated by racism. Some of them are, but some of them are really motivated by, this is the second generation that America has refused to invest in. Let's say you're in West Virginia or parts of Ohio or parts of Pennsylvania. No one's really speaking to your needs. What do you hear from the quote unquote Democrats? Anti-fracking, Green New Deal, which neither of those, from where you're sitting, benefits you in the least bit, right? You will starve under both of those things. So how do you vote for that? Even if you agree with everything else the Democrats are talking about, how do you vote for that when you know it means your family will starve? So then MAGA comes along and says, no, we're going to make sure fracking is still there. We're going to make sure we're drilling. We're going to make sure that every pot has a chicken in it. And we're going to do that for you. But we want to get rid of all the Black people and the Latinos. Well, that's messed up. But at least my kids won't starve. That's the devil's bargain that these people are in. My problem is, you knew it was a devil's bargain and you still made the deal. So, why? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It does. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth when I say this. You had no problem making a deal with the devil as long as you knew it wasn't going to affect you. Or at the very least, you never had a problem with making a deal with the devil as long as it benefited you.
Yeah. You
had no problem.
Or not even that you had no problem. They could have had a problem. Just wasn't a big enough problem.
No, it wasn't big enough for you. If you had a problem with it, it wasn't big enough to stop you from doing what you did.
Right.
And that's what we both agree on. I can't deal with you then. You can't have. I don't want anybody to suffer. Period. Black, white, as much as we say Black, white, Hispanic, LGBTQ community, I don't want anybody to suffer. But my take on it is, but when you go do things that you have no problem with other people suffering, and then you suffer under those same conditions, I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want you to suffer, but I can't. I don't want you to suffer, but I don't want you to suffer. I try to stop you from suffering, but since you're in this right now, again, what was your end game telling me you're suffering?
Yeah, I would look like this. You set the leopards loose on all of us.
Yeah.
I legitimately hope the leopards come get you. Like, it's not that I don't want you to suffer. I didn't want you to suffer in the first place. But now that you have unleashed suffering on all the rest of us, I hope it comes and gets you too. See what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to come get you too, because all of us are getting ate up out here. So there's a difference, right? So, like, remember we were talking about like the plantation days, oftentimes frame things in the sense of slavery. If you run a plantation and you enslave people, you're breeding them, you're abusing them, even if you treat them well, you're not giving them their freedom. They're subject to your whims and your ways. I want your whole house to burn down with your family in it. You see what I'm saying? So there's a difference for me, right? Like, I would rather you not have slaves. I would rather you be an abolitionist. And in which case, I hope that your family is well protected despite the risks that you are taking, because you're taking those risks on behalf of other people who need you to help stand for them where they can't stand for themselves, right? But if you were one of the slavers, I want nothing but the worst for you, because you want nothing but the worst for me. Stop the worst for me, and then there's no worst that can come to you, right? Go catch your leopards, put them back in their cages. And now I hope that as you're catching those leopards and putting them back in the cages, that they do not hurt you, right? You were wrong when you set them loose. You're doing something better to try to correct the situation by putting them back in the cage. And I hope as you're doing that, no harm comes to you. That's how I feel.
Okay. And this is how I feel. I know about the plantation. We talk about the plantation story all the time. And no, I in my heart of hearts, just me, I do not want the plantation to burn with all the family members in it. However, I know what my heart of hearts is. And my heart of hearts is, as soon as I see the group of people going to the lake and the river to go get water, I'm walking away. I'm not about to help you save this. So I wholeheartedly don't want you to suffer. I just want you to understand that help me out, Theas. What was the indifference? The opposite of love is indifference. That's what I am. I don't want the worst for you. I don't want the best for you. I don't give a fuck about you. I'm not going to use any emotional bandwidth whatsoever for you. Because even in a nutshell, you didn't give a fuck about me, okay, cool. When Rush Limbaugh died, I went, Rush Limbaugh died today. That was it. That was 3 words.
And meanwhile, I want him to suffer.
Yeah.
Whatever suffering is available to him, I want him to suffer. And I want his family to lose all the wealth that was ever accumulated from his negativity. Anything that was done outside of his negativity, then keep that. Right. So that's where we differ. Right. And that's cool. I can work with people like you. And I don't know if people like you can work with me, but I can certainly work with people like you. I get that. But what I'm
5 years. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying extrapolate, bigger than this, because you and I have an interpersonal relationship. So I'm saying, like, if we were groups, our groups could be at a bit of conflict, right? Because I'm like this. I don't want any harm to come to anyone. I want fair competition. That's what I want, right? I just want people to have the space to compete. If people want to interact, I want them to have the freedom to interact. If people want to be separate, they have the freedom to be separate, and they have the freedom to change their mind at any given time. That's what I want. I want white folks to have their own space. I want black folks to have their own space, but I also want space where white folks and black folks can come together and just be people. I want all of that stuff, right? But if one side decides that they want to actively harm the other side, I want to lay waste to everything that side that is bringing the violence. I want to lay waste to all of it because there's nothing good to come from this. We didn't have to be here. Okay. We could have existed peacefully. We didn't have to like each other. We could just be, you stay of your area, you stay in your area. But those of us who want to be together, let us be together. Right. But the moment you show up trying to lay waste to people, then I got nothing for you. We're at war now. Right. And war has to have a victor. So I'm like, avoid war. There's no need for it. Where you can use logic, compassion, you can use partnerships, you can use, competitive energy. You can do all of these different things. That's the world that I want. Right. But if you're going to bring that noise, and I just say it's time to make noise. Okay, here's a better analogy because it's less violent. It's violent, but it's less violent. You got two boxers. When we get in the ring, there are rules about us being in this ring. I only have one job, though. That's to beat you. Right? So I have to defend myself and I got to attack you, but we are fighting. The only thing that's going to stop us from fighting is you going down, you refusing to come out of your corner, or me winning the fight, or me losing the fight. That's the only way this thing ends. I'm not going to go into the ring as a boxer and try to hug you. I'm not going to be in the midst of the fight trying to figure out, well, I know he's trying to hit me and I know I'm trying to hit him, but where's a good time for us to find an understanding and an agreement? No, we gonna fight. And when the fight's over, now we have an opportunity to find where we get along. Hey man, you know what? In the third round, you really rang my bell, man. That was, what I'm saying. Now we can have that. But it's been established the fight's over. My problem with a lot of people, especially on our side of the equation, where you're not in the power position, we're in the deficit position. Why are you still trying to make friends out of people who have decided they're your enemy? That's ridiculous to me. Be friends with the people who want to be your friends. Understand that everybody who looks like the people who don't want to be your friends are not your enemies. And proceed. But this whole thing was like, yeah, come on, man. No, if you enslaving me and my people and your house catch on fire, I'm looking for lighter fluid. I'm looking for extra sticks. I'm putting chains on the doors. Bruh.
Now we use my analogy. And I guess this is like you are the extreme Malcolm X. I guess I'll be the extreme Dr. Martin Luther King.
Okay, let's see where you're going.
I'm racing with my opponent through the jungle or the woods or whatever. Let's jungle. I don't know because I don't know what else. I know it's in the woods. I don't know it's in the jungle. But he's cheating the whole way through. We got to make it from the one part of the jungle to the end of the jungle, and he's cheating all the way through. He's throwing rocks. He's throwing sticks. He's trying to trip me. He's doing it. In other words, he's causing me harm through the whole race.
Yes.
No matter what, he don't care if I die. He don't care. He took my water and threw it and poured it out, or he drunk it himself. In other words, he just don't care.
He got one mission. His mission is to beat you.
To beat me. Now, here's where I deviate from Dr. Martin Luther King. Then he makes that one oops and falls into a quicksand. Guess what I'm finna do?
You're gonna try to get him out.
Nope. You tried to hurt me. You tried to kill me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't see you fall in that quicksand and keep running. See, that's the difference. That's the difference. I'm not gonna stop you from destroying yourself. But what you do,
Okay, I get it. So, like, let's say using your analogy, we're running through the jungle. We got a mission. Get from A to B, everything in between. Now, what we could do is run our race, and whoever's best able to adjust to the obstacles that are in this jungle, they're gonna do what they can do. And at the end of the race, we're gonna see who made it through, and the winner is the winner. Right?
Equal challenge.
That's one. But no, we're running through the race, and I just can't settle for that. What I want to do is if I can get ahead of you, I'm gonna set traps for you. I'm gonna throw things at you. I'm gonna try to do everything I can to either break you, stop you, whatever it takes, because I don't believe in my own abilities to stay ahead of you. So I have to make sure that you can't keep up with me, right? Sabotage versus competition, right? I get that.
Yeah.
Where I think where we were like making those separate points is, so first your point, if you did all of those things, you did all those things to me, and I know you did it, right? I survived them or avoided as many as I could, whatever. That didn't change the fact that you tried to stop me. All right. And then you fall in the quicksand as you're doing your thing. Your premise is, dang, sucks to be you. You shouldn't have done what you were doing. Then we wouldn't be in this situation. And you keep going.
Yes.
Okay. And then mine is, given all that you've done to me as we've been running this, because I was just trying to run my race, but you keep trying to physically hurt me, destroy me, and do these different things. Where we differ is if we're running close enough together and I see the quicksand coming, I'm going to push you.
I'm sorry. Something popped in my head when you was talking. And as soon as you said, if I see you fall in the quicksand, I'm going to pick up the heaviest rock I can find and throw it on you so you can see quicker. That's why
if that's available. Like there's nothing. No. At best, if I can think of the best part of me, then I would try to find a vine and tie it to a rock or to a tree, and then throw the vine in the sand and keep running. That would be the best part of me. But you tried to literally destroy me.
Yeah.
So I'm not throwing you a vine. I'm pushing you in. I'm not going to add to it, probably. I'm just going to push you in, and I'm going to keep moving. Whatever happens to you, that's up to the fates. Just like whatever happened to me, well, you didn't care, right? Where we differed in our scenario there was, you're not going to be actively engaged in what happens to me. You're just not going to stop what happens to me.
Yes.
And then mine is, I'm going to try to do unto others as they have done unto me, and sticks and stones and all that good stuff. But had you not tried to do those things to me, or if early on you were doing those things and then you stopped and you started to run this thing legit, then I would be the one that would, one, not push you in. Two, if you fell in, I would try to get you out. Because I do believe in redemption. Like, I can't function in this world if I don't. So if you were bad, changed your ways, we can continue, and I'm going to pull you out, and then we're going to race from here.
Then my change, because you changed one bit of the analogy, my change would be that I would do I'm going to wrap a couple of vines, throw it as close to you as you possibly can. Because you did change, you stopped trying to sabotage, but you did do it. So,
This is where we like flip.
Yeah, so I'm going to help you without really helping you. Like, you're going to have to help yourself. I did help you, so I'm going to throw this out to you. I'm going to look for a second to see if you halfway pulled out. Okay, the vine good, you good. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, and that's what's funny. That's one of the things I love about our dynamic.
Yes.
Is because at a certain point it flips, right? Yeah. For me, you can in some cases, you can do me wrong, but provided you recover and do me right or cease doing me wrong, then I'm willing to leave that back here. Let's keep going. It's not the same as forgiving you, but I'm willing to let that move. You're a new person to me for all intents and purposes. Unless you do it again, then it all snaps back and it's war. But if you maintain the negativity at my first opportunity, not my first opportunity, at an opportunity of my choosing, I will get you.
Mm-hmm.
And that can happen now. That can happen at the end of the it doesn't matter when. It's going to be up to me. What satisfies me for when I get you, right? Because you never broke your pattern. You never stopped being adversarial towards me, right? And this is only, and I think of it this way because it's the only way I can navigate this space, right? Because otherwise I would typecast entire groups, and I refuse to do that, right? I can't just be against all white people or be against all Latinos or against all Black people. I can't do it. I can't do it because there's too much dissonance. I know for a fact there are good people and bad people in any group that you put together. So given that I know that as a fact, I can't just label and lump them all together. But if your subset of that group is consistent, then I will hold that subset in static, right? So like MAGA is MAGA because MAGA has not stood up against MAGA. Republicans are MAGA because if you still label yourself a Republican at this stage of the game, you are MAGA, right? That's how I move. But what will happen in my view is MAGA is going to stay MAGA because they're too invested. They can't get out. But Republicans can turn. Republicans can stop and hold their own accountable and do those different things. At that point, I can't hold that against them as much anymore. It'll still be in my mind because, this is the stuff you did, but you're not my enemy now. You're back to being my opponent.
I can. There will always come a point where you can redeem yourself, and you will always come to a point where I can put you in two categories, and I guess your analogy was great. Are you my opponent or are you my enemy? And those are two categories where if you're my enemy, and this is where we differ on certain things. If you're my enemy, then I don't care what happens to you. And I can't remember the dude. What was the old head of the Senate?
McConnell?
McConnell. McConnell is my opponent. Only reason I say that is because he fought MAGA. He fought it more than he was with him. He did.
He enabled MAGA. He built MAGA. MAGA just got out of control. MAGA is the leopard in the cage, and he opened the cage.
he redeemed himself because he realized he let the leopards out of the cage.
He ain't try to put him back in the cage, though. He just said, "Oh, let me just get out of here."
Well, okay, let me finish by.
No, I'm just messing with you. I'm just saying. But yeah, I get where you're going.
So when he got sick and everything else, or he's getting sick, I wasn't the first one to laugh and go, this is what you get and blah, 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 and everything else, because you're my opponent. I don't want the worst for you. Am I going to care? Not really. Not really. I just don't want the worst for you. As a matter of fact, I was the one that kept saying, y'all need to take this dude off TV. Stop this. This is freaking cruel. Now, compared to my enemy, put him on as many times as you want on TV. Let him fall as many times as you want him to. Oh, you just hoping the worst for him. No, I'm telling you right now, I don't care.
Well, see, that's the difference,
You are doing this to him. You're not going to pass the buck of trying to get me to go, well, you want them. Bruh, let me help you out on the dynamics of the United States. I'm a citizen. I've been to Washington, D.C. one time. Not in the White House, not the Oval Office, not the Senate, not the Congress. I have never held an elected seat, not one time. Stop trying to put the blame on what I want. What I want is irrelevant. So stop trying to just add that you want him to suffer. So, and what? What is that going to do with where he's at?
Well, that's true. There's a level of agency, right? I mean, you know, what do I care? What does it matter what I feel? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just, you know, but what I was going to say, though, is like McConnell is my opponent. He's always been my opponent.
Johnson is my enemy.
Johnson is my opponent.
Really?
Yeah. MAGA is an ideology. That's my enemy. The individuals, because they've not personally, you know what I'm saying? It's a weird distinction to kind of make.
Yeah.
But like with McConnell, my answer to a McConnell is we should have a better Schumer, right? Like the Democratic Party should be a better foil to the Republican Party.
You know how bad it is.
You're right, Tracy. But yeah, it's yeah, but it's like you make force meet force. But MAGA is actively doing its thing where it's attacking people. It's not just going through policy and dirty politics. It's literally attacking people. It's literally unraveling a structure. So that makes you an enemy. And you're an enemy because you declared war on me, right? I don't go around picking enemies because I don't like that environment. I don't think anything healthy comes from it. But if you have designated me your enemy, I automatically see you as mine. There, like me and you don't really match there, even though it's not the same words we're using. Because like in your scenario, someone can declare you their enemy, but that doesn't necessarily make them your enemy. It's more, I'm not worried about you. You do what you do. Just don't come over here messing with me, right? But they declared themselves your enemy. They're not your opponent. They're your enemy. For me, it's kind of like Russia declared Ukraine to be their enemy, even though Ukraine wasn't trying to fight Russia. Well, at that moment, it doesn't matter how Ukraine felt about Russia. Russia's now their enemy too. And you got to fight them, right? To me, that's why Ukraine is still fighting them. They couldn't just pretend or be like, well, you know, whatever, man. Whatever Russia does, we'll deal with it as it comes. No, they had to be like, no, we got to be offensive too. We got to fight back. We can't just, you know, saying hope it doesn't get too bad. So, and this isn't, it's not me like coming at you. I'm just saying like it's a difference in like the philosophies, right? If you want to be my opponent, I don't have anything against you. Being my opponent is like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant scrimmaging, right? These are two guys that when they're not playing ball, they were friends, or at least they were cool with each other. But when they're on the court, they're 100% against each other because they got two different teams to represent. But in order to get better at what they were doing, they would compete with each other in one-on-ones and pickup games. That's an opponent. That's competition. But if one of them decided, nah, we're going to go Nancy Kerrigan on you, that's your enemy.
Right? And you came up with a great analogy. And Tracy, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to make it go to midnight, but they'll keep giving me an analogy. Ukraine-Russia war. The very beginning, close to the very beginning of the war. Russia had very old warships out on the coast of Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And they caught fire. And the men was begging for help. Now, we at war.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you can swim. If you make it, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and send you on your way and everything else. Well, why did you send rescue boats out there? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
See,
that.
we differ there.
Yeah, I know. That's why we differ. I'm not doing that. I'm not, because I know what your analogy is, oh, well, you done caught fire, bomb the living crap out of them. They sit right there.
No.
Really? I thought I had yours.
No. So there's layers to all of these things, right? Nothing's clean cut for me anyway. Nothing's really clean cut. So a person becomes a soldier for a variety of reasons. One, they join the military because they want to provide for themselves or provide for their family, or they were drafted into the military, right? Now, your military is my enemy. So in normal combat warfare, if you die, you die. If you don't, you don't, right? That's right. But your ship is burning down, which is my real threat. Mm-hmm. I'm not in danger at this moment. So now there's a human aspect to it, right? I'm not going to do something to you in cold blood, right? So I would send people or send boats to get you and bring you to safety. Now that safety will have you as a prisoner of war. I'm not going to just send you back to pick up a gun and fight me some more, but I will save your life because you're only fighting me because the two teams are against each other. That's a deadly two teams, but it's two teams. You yourself, you didn't declare this war or any of that stuff. So during hot, open combat, whatever happens to you, just like whatever happens to me, happens to me. I understand that. We're nameless, faceless creatures that are out here, dealing destruction and getting destruction. But there's also the part of honor, I guess, or a way to put, I don't know the right word for it, but you rescue those people, you put up, you basically put them as prisoners because they committed a crime against you in a way, and you take them off the board, you take them off the chessboard. But I'm not going to go bomb them some more, and I'm not going to just watch them drown, But if the heads of what caused this thing, that's different, right? Like you're the instrument that set all this stuff in motion. Well, I'll watch you go ahead and go on down. I'll watch you. Right. So there's different ways that I kind of approach it.
That's not me. Sorry, that's not me.
Yeah, because under your method, there would be no prisoners of war.
It wouldn't be. But at the same time, I'll also be the main person to sit there and go, even if the nicest thing I can go is tell you, hey, I'm going to send boats out there to go get you off the ship, bring you to shore. How we going to get back to Russia? Yes, that direction. I suggest you get to walking.
No, I'm not sending you back because you're not going to pick up and come back and fight me. That ain't happening.
No, I would send them back.
No, your option is drown out there or prison over here. Those are your options. I'm not sending you back to come fight me later. No. That was the Nancy Kerrigan reference I made.
Oh, Nancy Kerrigan was the one that got hit.
Yeah.
That's our clue that it's getting late. Or that's the excuse I will make because I'm really going to bed and Foxy's already done with her juicing. So now she's coming upstairs and then she'll get on. I can't
juice at night, man. I'll be peeing all night.
No, she sets up her juicing and then she'll for the week.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's interesting. Well, it makes sense. But here's my issue. I like frozen smoothies. So I don't drink them like liquidy. They have to be frozen. I'm not going to just drink one out of like suspended liquids and shake it up and drink it. I'm not. No.
I'm going to text you later on tonight to let you know why I'm using one of them juices as a meal replacement. But that's what it is. And I tried one of hers and it's fantastic. Like I literally can drink that.
No, I mean, dude, if you think of a blender, because I don't use smoothie machines. if you think of a blender, like that full hopper of a blender, I drink the whole thing. Like I put ice in there, and then, well, actually, I don't usually put ice because I usually use frozen berries. But I put all my ingredients in there, whip it all up, and then I drink it.
Ooh, nothing frozen.
Well, I like mine frozen.
If it's pineapple, she gets the pineapple.
Yeah, I don't like pineapples. Pineapples and bananas are never in anything that I drink because they overpower whatever you put them in.
I don't do banana. Even when I was a bodybuilder, which I know look at me as a bodybuilder, but no, I can't do banana nothing. And banana chocolate, you disgusting individuals on the face of the planet. It never was a good combination, and it never will be. Do you know how I
explain why you don't like plantains? Like I don't like bananas, but I love fried plantains.
Because plantains seem like it's just a harder banana, and I don't like it.
It's a harder, sweeter banana, but they're usually fried, so they're not healthy.
I don't even see it.
Huh?
I don't even see it as sweeter.
To me, it is. They taste sweet to me.
Well, I'll tell you something that you should do. Now I'm doing this just to fuck with Tracy because I know she's ready to go to bed. Get you some pineapple, and as a matter of fact, you can find some that's probably already sliced into individual pieces, or you can find one that's already had the core moved out of either way. But either way, and get you some brown sugar. Please try caramelized pineapple.
No, thank you.
Why? You don't like pineapple, period?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of pineapple. The only time I like pineapple, what is it? There's a mixed drink of some sort, not like alcohol, but like no, I just don't like pineapple.
I love pineapple. Pineapple, watermelon.
I like watermelon.
I was on a grape thing for.
I like grapes, but I don't like mango.
I like mango.
Yeah,
I can tolerate.
Yeah.
I don't like melon. Like
cantaloupe and watercress or whatever stuff. So I can eat those. I'm not a fan of them, but I can eat them.
It's never going to be on my top list.
Yeah. And they got to be ice cold. Like you're not going to give me no room temperature cantaloupe. That's just
no. Let's make one thing clear. Everything that I just said is not room temperature. Period. Pineapple, grape, strawberry, watermelon, none of that can be room temperature. I'm sorry. I done came a long way. I got a refrigerator. Let's use it. Bro, I did that when I was younger. We've come a long way. No. It ain't got to be frozen, but damn it, cut it up, put it up. I'm not, no.
Yeah. I like cold fruit, but in my smoothies, I like them frozen. And, I like them like daiquiri style.
Theus, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me at on YouTube. You can find me at Complex Mind Simple Man.
2 videos of that, 2.5 videos, folks. Go see it.
Yeah, we got some out there. One dropped tonight. Second half of my discussion with Antoine. And then on ourunitedcore.com, if it's the type of content you're interested in, we have our 3R project that's out there. That's not going to be as consistent. But really, for now, the only place you're going to find them is on the website. I'm not putting them, even if they're on YouTube, I'm not advertising them. So.
And there's a reason for that.
No, the real reason for it isn't because like black or something like that. It's just that Our United Core is a community development organization. So the purpose of Our United Core is our mission. So the videos are just kind of giving you more understanding of the thinking behind me and some of the passions that we have within the organization. So it's not meant to go viral or anything, like that, but there's nothing secret about it. Right. So it's cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all places, non-conforming individuals, and of course,
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ.
I appreciate this. I appreciate Anna. We will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. I appreciate StreamYard for actually keeping up for as long as we had it so we can end this show. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
Media LLC, they had a good video today with some really dynamic ladies. Might be worth it for you to peep that out.
Yeah, y'all go check out that Tracy video. It was really good, really in depth. I really appreciate it. So y'all go check that out.